It would help if I unmuted the mic. Hello everyone and welcome to another stream. The only theme today is we're watching Peter's stream. He did a 2-hour stream. If you don't know who Peter is, on Tinfoil Tuesdays, where I cover and sort of make fun of conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists, there's a gentleman by the name of Peter Hanna, who is a QAnon conspiracy theorist. We've talked a couple times. He doesn't like me very much anymore, as he mentions in this video, because I've demonized him, because he wants Trump to come in and kill his political enemies. I'm sorry, I've demonized you for wanting a military coup to come in and kill your political enemies, Peter. I should admit that that's a good thing to do, and very moral, legal, and very cool. Anyway, he did a 2-hour live stream, so we're gonna check it out. Hope you're all doing well. Oh, my hair's pretty frizzy. It's humid here. It's hot. We're gonna get all kinds of sweaty and stupid together. Y'all ready? It's basically all I do. Let me see what I missed. 74Quinn74 says, so I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. last night using an electric hand sander. I'm so tired. Glad you're streaming. Nick says, stayed up till 7 a.m. playing a Super Mario 64 randomizer. Good life choices. Interesting dichotomy in the things that people choose to stay up late for. Citosaurus says, glad you're streaming today. It'll take my mind off of the throbbing pain in my tooth. Broke part of it 4 months ago and haven't been to the dentist yet. That just keeps getting more intense. Fucking dentist phobia. Haven't been in 6 years. That sucks. I need to go to the dentist too. I've been having tooth pain for quite a while, but it comes and goes, so I never do anything about it. What else? Kirthan says, I'm getting out the good kush for this. I hope you do, and I hope you have a good time. Use responsibly. Empty the Tank says, hey Hannah, great to see you. I missed the past handful of streams, and I'm happy to be here this morning. I'm glad you're here too. Pyromancer says, should we call you Miss Frizzle? That'd be nice. I don't have a cool enough dress, though. Miss Frizzle had very cool dresses. So yeah, we'll wait a couple minutes for some more people to come in. But yeah, we're probably only doing the Peter thing, but I pulled up other stuff just in case. Who knows? You never know. Maybe we'll have to pause partway through for a cleanse or something. If we had dental insurance, I think a lot of us would go. Probably. I do have dental insurance, though. That's the worst part. I have it. I just don't use it. Thanks, Obamacare. But please give us universal health care. Obamacare is a stopgap at best that is a giveaway to insurance companies. I would like a public option, please. Medicare for all, actually. Whatever. Daddy Sume says, I found a mature woman cosplaying as Miss Frizzle, and holy cow, I didn't think Miss Frizzle could be that hot, but damn. I'm happy you found a cougar, Miss Frizzle. COVID cases are surging back. So that's fun. At the very least, if you're vaccinated, you're probably okay. Even if you catch it, you're probably going to get very mild to no symptoms. That's good. Maybe natural selection will take care of the rest. I don't know. Either way, I'm very sick of anti-vaxxers. And I'd wish they'd get vaccinated. Bim, 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 bim. Bim, 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 bim. Sausage guy.
Alright, it's time to get rid of the rest of this frozen bread. YouTube comment suggestions. I'm never gonna be able to get rid of this bread.
Frozen bread always reminds me of bread that gets sold at the local store near me. It's called Ezekiel bread. It comes in the freezer section. And it always disturbs me because it's named after the biblical figure of Ezekiel. Ezekiel made bread out of his own shit. So a bread company basically named themselves Shit Bread. And apparently it's popular. Andrew Patella says, I'm getting my first shot Tuesday. There's a clear difference in the vax schedules in Europe versus the US. Oh, I know. I'm talking about anti-vax people who are willingly and willfully not getting the vaccine. I understand that around the world, you know, different people are unable to get it. I don't consider you an anti-vaxxer just because you don't have the vaccine. Did I watch the live stream? Are you going in blind? I think I watched the first, like, half an hour. I'll watch the rest with you guys. I mean, I'm going to watch the first 30 minutes, too, again with you guys. But I haven't seen the last hour and a half. It also has Bible quotes on it. Yeah.
This is some sick stuff. Let's sausage! This seems like something that the British already eat. Let's see how we did. Just looks like, that looks like regret. Here we go!
What's happening in this video? He's making sausage out of frozen bread.
It tastes like the bread you get at Outback Steakhouse. 2 out of 5! Bop, 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 bop.
Okay, let's jump into the Peter stuff. We got 2 hours of this shit. Let's do it.
Alright guys, audio check. Can you hear me okay? How's everyone doing today? Hey guys. Thanks for joining me. Can't see what you're going to tell us, Peter. I hope you're...
By the way, I think some of my regulars from chat
well,
showed up to Peter's stream and asked him questions. And I appreciate that. That's funny. This is not the panel one. This is just him on his own channel.
Some interesting news information about... I'm interested in what you guys think about John McAfee. He's going to drop
McAfee.
supposedly 31 terabytes of data.
Oh yeah, this is a new thing. This is like a brand new thing the Q people are into now. John McAfee, of course, killed himself recently in custody because he was going to be extradited for some criminal charges. I don't remember what the criminal charges are. He's a weird guy. Go watch the documentary, The Gringo, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee. I'd recommend it. Anyway, how do I put this? John McAfee's a crazy person. He claimed that he had dirt on a bunch of people, and then he was going to have, like, a dead man switch. If you don't know what a dead man switch is, basically it's something that if you don't check in every once in a while, it'll automatically post to the internet or somewhere else before the internet. So the idea is, if anyone kills me, or if I die unexpectedly, all this data and dirt I have on people is going to get released. So QAnon people are obsessed with this. They think that John McAfee's 30-something terabytes of data are somehow going to prove QAnon to be correct. So that's kind of their new pet obsession lately. We'll see if that continues or if it's another one of those things that's a fad that comes and goes in the Q-munity. Guess we'll find out. Nick says, John McAfee when the coffee is cocaine instead of caffeine. And a simple cat girl says, hey Hannah, my second time on a live stream, viewers. Hope we have a wild ride. Mark Zuckerberg says, subscribes for 10 months.
Thanks for the confirmation. I appreciate it. So John McAfee has been, he supposedly died, and then this website
He dead.
that came up that had a countdown, and the countdown ended 2 a.m. last night. And supposedly this was like a dead man switch, and that the countdown was gonna release 31 terabytes of information, like black horrible information about the deep state. And what's interesting is that a day before that happened...
Oh, people are asking about who John McAfee is. He's the guy that founded the McAfee antivirus company. He started and made an original antivirus program in, like, the 90s, when viruses were mainly transmitted by, like, floppy disk. The internet wasn't a big thing yet, so internet viruses weren't really a thing. They probably were, but not how they are today. So really, viruses more were done by, like, passing floppy disks around, and you put a floppy in your computer, and you'll get it infected. So he wrote antivirus programs for those, which still, for the time, I'm sure was impressive, but, different time. He ended up selling the company, and then he had no part in it ever again. Modern McAfee programs have nothing to do with what he wrote. They're just using his name. McAfee's shit anyway, the program. Don't get it. It's trashware that's going to slow down your PC. Nick says, be safe, put a condom on your floppy. So, basically, since then, he's just been a crazy person using his money to make drugs and move to other countries and start gangs, and he maybe murdered his neighbor. Like, it's a whole thing. So, just, John McAfee is not the guy you want to go to if you want any sort of reliable information on anything. Also, apparently he likes women to shit in his mouth. So, shit goes in, shit comes out. Don't believe him. Fjord Horse, thanks for subscribing for 9 months. That's a stream baby. This stream baby's name is, McAfee. His name is McAfee. That's his first name. His name is McAfee Peters. Hydrate. Okay, will do.
And suddenly we have one of the biggest outages in a while. And let me show you guys.
Honestly, the poop thing, that's not even a kink shame thing. That's a health issue. Don't eat poop. Don't eat poop, guys. Andrew Patella says, shit comes in, shit comes out. Never a miscommunication. Nick says, name the next stream baby, Norton. And then Tea with Goblin says, here's Illuminati's video about McAfee viewers, if you're interested. And then there's a link, but the link didn't work, so maybe post the link again. You gotta put a space between the period at the end of the first sentence and the link. Hype Train, 78% to level 1.
There's, as you can see,
There we
there's,
go.
McDonald's, Delta, FedEx, whole bunch of websites, Amazon, Airbnb, HSBC, British Airways. A ton of websites went down.
Yeah, they probably use a common server. Like, Amazon servers are really, really popular. Google hosts servers, and websites will rent those server spaces from them to run their websites. So sometimes, and this happens relatively often, it happens occasionally with YouTube, it happens occasionally with Reddit or Amazon, different sites. Something will happen in those facilities, the servers will go down, thus a bunch of websites will go down that seem unaffiliated, but if they use the same server company in order to host their websites and that company has problems, all those sites will go down. It's not a conspiracy, it's just a reality of the infrastructure we deal with on the internet. Bellum Guardian says, shit comes in, shit comes out. Can't explain that. Citosaurus says, one man, one woman, one cup. It's actually one man, one woman, one hammock. According to the documentary, John McAfee would have young women come to his home, and he had a hammock that was like a mesh hammock. Not mesh, but it was like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like net. It was like a netting. And he would have the woman sit on the hammock, and shit through the holes in sort of the rope netting of the hammock, and he would, yeah. Empty the Tank says, fun fact, rabbits made a special kind of poop that they eat straight from their butthole. Cool.
And I wonder if this was
koalas, their children can't process eucalyptus leaves until they're adults, so they create what's called fecal pap, and baby, koalas eat this fecal pap. It's shit. It's partially digested shit that their parents produce out of their buttholes, and then they eat it, and that's what baby koalas eat.
It's like a threat, like McAfee, if you drop, any information, will shut down the internet or something, because he was saying a lot of weird things in his post, like...
Yeah, McAfee said a lot of weird shit. He also admitted to fucking a dolphin once. And he like, advocated for fucking dolphins. John McAfee is not a normal person, Peter. John McAfee fucks dolphins and eats shit. Don't trust this man. Tito Canu, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community. Sorry, it was a whale. Wrong porpoise. Asari Phoenix says, I dropped into the stream at the weirdest time. It's always the weirdest time. Level 1 complete. 32% to level 3.
Nothing can stop what is coming right here. Nothing can stop what is coming. And makes you wonder if they're, because they've done this before, like before when John Assange's Dead Man Switch was supposedly released.
Julian Assange?
And they were panicking. There was also a major outage like this. So it's kind of odd that when these Dead Man Switches are released, all of a sudden there's major outages everywhere. Like,
there are outages all the time, Peter. They happen weekly. It just depends on the websites you're looking at.
Like 24 hours beforehand. It's almost like a threat. Like, if you release this information, we're going to cut off the internet. Thanks for joining us. I think he was too. Peter, I'm worried that McAfee was, they said I don't believe it. I think it's a Epstein situation where they're not dead and they weren't suicided and they weren't murdered. They're hiding.
Goth Geek Gaming says, I have no idea what you mean about some of us being in this live stream. I've watched it. I see you. It was funny, though. Thank you for going to that live stream. It was funny. Sweet Bunny Mommy says, just got here. Was literally just watching you watch Peter on YouTube. I gotta upload stuff to YouTube. Why have I gotten so bad at uploading more stuff to YouTube lately? Joey is strong. Thanks for 200 bits.
And that's the worst case scenario for the deep state, to have people like Epstein or John hiding and not actually dead. I wouldn't be worried about it at all. Majestic 12 says they're alive, and
don't worry, guys. The interdimensional aliens have confirmed that the shit-eating whale fucker and the pedophile pimp are alive. They're with the aliens. It's fine. Bellum Guardian says the fact that Peter thinks outages are unusual proves he doesn't have a Steam account.
And I believe them, so Majestic 12 confirms they're alive. I believe they're alive, so...
I did not see the Adult Swim interview McAfee had, no.
That means they're going to have to appear at some point and say something.
Just like JFK Jr. He's going to show up any day now, guys. Mark Zuckerberg says, just got the chance to change my username, and guess what username was open finally? Celebratory Bits. Oh, it's Mark's Zuckerberg 420. Nice.
Do you guys have any questions for today? This is like one of the...
I have a question, Peter. Why does Peter not know planned outages exist? At many companies, the IT department will intentionally cut off parts of their servers to see how their system handles it. I guess he doesn't. 54% to level 3.
The big news I wanted to share. Oh, by the way, since you're talking about Ghost Ezra, for the people who don't know already, Ghost Ezra is not someone that I trust.
Uncle Bucket. I think Uncle Bucket did that dress for me. Thanks again, Uncle Bucket.
because he does.
Is Peter's entire chat for this stream just fans of mine? Citosaurus says, my brother's giving me the Mass Effect update today. So excited. Good birthday gift. He was smart and asked me what I wanted. Fun. I've been enjoying the remaster.
Push flat Earth theory. He's gotten like 500,000 people to. This is him right here. He's gotten looks like 330, almost 333,000 subscribers. I think he's gotten almost 500,000 people to believe in the flat Earth theory. So this is a disinformation agent. I wouldn't trust Ghost Ezra. I used to believe him, but Majestic 12 confirmed he's a disinformation agent. He's just trying to just...
Ghost Ezra also posts incredibly anti-Semitic Nazi propaganda. And I don't mean like neo-Nazi propaganda. I mean he literally posts World War II Nazi anti-Jewish propaganda to his 300,000 QAnon followers. Which is great. That's what we need. We need a very fervent, angry, violent base of irrational people to be fed anti-Semitic Nazi conspiracy theories. That went really well last century.
Distract people, and he pushes cryptos and precious metals and on his channel. I wouldn't trust him at all. What if they're clones? That is a great question. It's possible at this point. I do believe in clones, and anything is possible. Getter9 says, I think in an Epstein situation too. Yep, I think it's
Thanks for the hype train, everyone.
Similar to the Epstein situation.
Puka, thanks for 500 bits.
Thanks for joining me, 17 people. So, this
17. It means something.
Friday, I'm sure people are working, but thank you all. 19 people who are joining me today. Thank you.
Oh, it doesn't mean anything anymore. 2 more people joined. Never mind. False alarm, everyone.
We're talking about what's going on with McAfee and how there was a huge blackout right before the dead man switch. McAfee's... Hold on.
They can shut down the website for McDonald's, but they can't stop a dead man switch from going off. That makes sense.
I'm saying it right. John McAfee, or whatever his last name is. He was supposed to...
McAfee. Google something before you talk about a guy for 2 hours, Peter.
Release 31 terabytes of a dead man switch, and then there are all these internet outages. And the same thing happened when Julian Assange's dead man switch was going to be released. A bunch of internet outages. So I think this is a threat. But I also think things start heating up. This August is going to be very exciting because people keep saying...
I summoned the ghost of John McAfee. Alright. If he needs to know the bathroom's over there, he can, hang out in the toilet until I gotta go, but...
Even Majestic 12, that August summers are hot. This is something that Mr. 17 has said. Peter, I think flat Earth is true. Look, I respect that.
Why?
I don't claim to know everything, but it's possible that flat Earth is being pushed to distract people. That's my theory on it. I could be wrong. So I want to, respect your opinion, but at the same time, I think that it's disinformation. But if you have some excellent evidence, Nickel, put it in the chat and I'll pull it up. Let's take a look at the flat Earth theory.
I want to share some... Peter's never going to talk to me again. He doesn't like me anymore. I mean, he never liked me, but now he really hates me. Either way, I really want to ask Peter why he doesn't believe in flat Earth. Obviously, flat Earth isn't true, but he believes such crazy conspiracies already. I don't understand what he sees about flat Earth that he's skeptical about, considering he's not skeptical at all about a cabal of interdimensional aliens helping Donald Trump do a military coup. Yeah.
Let's see. How much sleep are you getting now that you have an Uber, and I hope all is well? That's a good question. Well, not as much as I would like. I got 6 hours last night. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I mean, 6 hours is pretty good if you have a newborn baby, not gonna lie. Daddy Sume says, I wish someone had told me about that live stream. I would have loved to talk with Peter, though he might have banned me because I would admit I was one of those who reported him. Nick says, because the aliens would have told him if the Earth were flat. Oh, probably true. Yeah.
I wish I could get more sleep because it's intense to be able to work and take care of my family, everything honestly, I'm one of those people that needs 7 or 8 hours. Or I just can't function properly, and I'm running on 6 hours. But before this stream, I took a 1 hour nap, so I think I'm I'm all ready to go with.
So you got 7 hours of sleep basically with the nap, which is a normal amount of time for an adult to sleep. I think 8 hours is recommended, but I think a lot of adults get like 7, 6. Some get less, 5, which isn't great, but you know, the world's shitty, so I get it.
Thanks for asking. Michael Brown says,
it's not McAfee, it's McAfee muffin. Oh no, I want to make muffin.
the earth is not flat, it's round. And by the way, Trump comes back, there will be parties all around the
Is McDonald's coffee good? I don't know. I don't drink coffee. About once a year, I'll get like a mocha frappe from Starbucks. And that's it. That's the only coffee I'll ever drink. I don't really like normal coffee on its own. Mike Mack says, you guys sleep? I try to.
for days. I agree.
I had a crazy dream the other night. I gotta tell you guys about this dream real quick. We'll continue with the Peter stuff, but this is sort of relevant to the streams. So I had a dream. Baha and I are working on getting a house, and it's very stressful. I already have this house that I own, but we're working on getting a place to stay where she lives by her college, where she works. And I'm going to be renting this out to a friend at cost. I'm not going to be a shitbag landlord. I'm not making a profit. Anyway, so I had this nightmare where we applied to, like, get a house, and they approved us, but then it got taken away, and it turned out the reason was because Jeremy of the quartering worked at the place that was approving us, and he decided not to because I shit-talk him. So then I had to go to a party that the quartering was throwing, and it was awful, and I had to try and convince him to let us get the house. It was a terrible dream. Looked like a fun party, though. And I don't think Jeremy's capable of throwing a party as fun as that party looked.
Why are you guys excited for Trump coming back? Like what evidence that, you know, where we can talk about on YouTube makes you excited about Trump coming back?
One time I had a dream with John Doyle in it, too. I think this is the only 2 times I've ever had dreams that involved anyone I've ever covered. And it was, I had a dream where I was living in an apartment complex, and John Doyle was a neighbor living down the hall, but he wasn't a dick. It wasn't like John Doyle as he exists in reality. It was John Doyle if he was like a normal human being. So that was funny.
For me, personally, I'm very excited about the wording in his speeches. That's very optimistic. And everything that Rachel Maddow's been talking about, well, more accurately, she's been like tantruming about on her show. Rachel Maddow was making fun of people like us for a while, and now all these conservatives on the internet, it's not just me, but a bunch of conservatives are like, guys, check out this Rachel Maddow clip. She's freaking out again. She's panicking again. She's having another one of her leftist tantrums, and it's really funny. So if you guys been watching Rachel Maddow, know what's going on with her. It's really funny to see someone who's making fun of us is now having like panic attacks almost on her show.
When we watched the Peter video about Rachel Maddow, I said that I never really watched Rachel Maddow, so I'm not like Rachel Maddow. So I'm not familiar with her typical like affect. I don't know how she acts. I don't know her mannerisms. I don't know how she typically covers topics because I just don't watch MSNBC. I don't really watch any cable news network like that. But I was talking to Baha about it, and she's like, no, Rachel Maddow gets pretty, like, histrionic about stuff. She gets a little, which I found a little funny. So I don't think that's necessarily out of character for her. Daddy Sume says, update, I've secured a long-term place to stay, and I'm working on finding a job in the area. For the time being, I wanted to take everyone who donated and helped me. Sweet. Kazoo Dave, thanks for 7 months. I'm glad you found a place to stay, Daddy Sume. Very much so. Hope you find a job soon.
She's like, oh, someone needs to stop this stuff that's happening. Peter, do you believe in rapture? You'd have to define rapture, but I believe we're in the end of days for sure.
Why did you have kids then, Peter? Why are you continuing to have children? You have a newborn and you think we're at the end of days? Kind of makes you a shitty father. Okay.
Rivera is real says, I get the feeling Trump might return at the end of 2021 or at least January 22, not August. You know, I get a similar feeling as you. I was hopeful for August, but My predictions for specific times, that's why I'm never like 100% chance something's gonna happen this date. I'm like, 50-50. I agree with you. Right now, it doesn't look like something big's gonna happen in August when it comes to Trump's return.
Peter dooming.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the end of 2021. That's how I feel right now.
Remember the first time Peter and I talked and he was adamant that it was going to happen, like, by halfway through the year, and he was, like, adamant, like, it has to happen. I don't even remember when he said, like, April, May, June, you know, and now we're almost in August and nothing has happened, and he's still like, no, it's by the end of the year. I promise.
And I hope it's this year. I mean, Trump literally said something.
Didn't I make a bet with Peter during our first conversation that if nothing happens by the end of the year, he owes me a bullet crown?
It has to happen this year. So I assume,
because even if he hates me, I expect to be paid.
This year is when something's going to happen. Peter, you're right about flat Earth. It's disinformation. That's possible. This is something that Majestic 12 said. Majestic 12 may declare anyone who's pushing flat Earth is a disinformation agent. What about you guys? Do you believe in the rapture? Do you believe in the end of days? Thank you for all 27 people who joined me on this Friday afternoon. You guys could be doing anything, so I really appreciate you guys joining and talking. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section.
Peter has no money for a bullet crown. Honestly, I'd even forward him the money, like on Venmo or something, and be like, okay, go buy me a crown and send it to me. I'm afraid he'd steal my money. So
I'll let you guys lead a lot of the show. Trump would have told us true parents if the earth was flat, wouldn't he? I feel the same. Let's see here. How in the world is Trump going to fix all the Biden?
Who's Majestic 12? Basically the Men in Black, except run by all aliens. Peter thinks that Majestic 12 is aliens and then they're communicating with him through Telegram, which is a website.
Has done
because they have an account and that's what they claim and he believes them.
That's a great question, Vivian, and I think that it's going to take a while. There's going to be casualties for sure. I'm hearing billions of deaths the next few years. It's going to be billions of deaths, like 2 billion deaths in the next 3 years because of things that are happening now. I think you're aware about. So it's going to be rough.
Peter, if 2 billion people died, it would lead to complete societal collapse. There would be no government for Trump to be the president of, even if all the things you're saying were true. If 2 billion people were removed from the planet, everything would collapse, because a lot of those people would probably be working in vital roles in society. I mean, we all, when we're working, have some sort of vital role. It's all interconnected, but, like, how many of those people are going to be people who know how to run and preserve infrastructure? How many people are those who run the government? How many of those people are people who do stuff like trucking and make sure that the logistics of getting things from place to place happen in our global economy? Like, we'd just be fucked.
And the damage is being done, and
he believes he's being contacted by the SCP Foundation. Kind of, yeah.
Fortunately, it's going to take a while to repair the whole country, but Trump can do it. I'm confident in him. Peter, did you hear about Siberia being on
Oh, there's Goth Geek Gaming.
fire? Is this part of Majestic 12's plan? I did not hear about that, and Majestic 12 has not commented on that. But if he does, I will let you know.
If the Earth can survive after the snap, we can survive the Vax genocide. You know, I like the Marvel movies. I don't think they're a documentary.
Did you watch David Weiss about Flat Earth? I did not, Nickel. Yeah, it is the hardest part of having. Yeah, I agree. Well, luckily with my my in-laws, we slept with them in their house for like a month, and they really helped take care of us. So
phrasing.
Usually it's rough for the first few weeks for getting sleep, but lucky to them, I actually got good sleep because they helped us out, and so it's been pretty good. Luckily, I'm getting pretty good sleep, or else I would just have to stop working. Do you think our so-called friends will go down completely once Mike Lindell does his little gathering in August? You have to be more specific with that question, but I do think that Mike Lindell's going to do something in August.
Probably more grifting, which is what he's been doing since the election. Honestly, since he started making pillows out of trashed memory foam. But now it's political in nature, so it's a little different. Mike Mack says, sadly, South Park is a documentary now. Sweet. Can I meet Man Bear Pig?
Forensic evidence. Yes, something's going to happen in August. You did a really decent...
I'm not really a big fan of South Park anymore. I just find the sort of, like, libertarian, fuck everything, and if you care about things, you're an idiot worldview to be a little juvenile. Of course, I enjoyed it most when I was, like, 13 to 16, so that makes sense. But I've been playing the South Park Stick of Truth RPG. It's like a turn-based RPG. It's actually really good. Sweet Bunny Mommy says, damn, I don't wish insomnia on anyone, but you would think with all the awake time he would have time to reflect better. You'd think. Daddy Sume says, hi Hannah, we can meet anytime you want. I'm good. I'm good.
Impression of Maddow. You're good at acting. Thank you. Honestly, I think I'm a horrible actor. I'm pretty bad, but I do appreciate that you guys liked the video. I'm not very good at
I did fight the Mongolians, yes.
comedy or acting or anything like that, but I felt
South Park's also really racist. Like, South Park is very, very racist. But other than that, you know.
like she was really tempting me to make fun of her because she was making fun of people like me, and then she was panicking on her show. I was like, it felt very good to make fun at her back for being ridiculous, you know. But I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. Did you guys see that video where I'm making fun of Rachel Maddow? Of course, YouTube's like, we're not going to put ads on this. There's no money you're going to make off this video. Of course. I use this herbal mix every night to help me sleep. It's interesting. It's the only way I can sleep with my PTSD. Interesting. Well, I use valerian and kratom to fall asleep. Those are my two things that help me. Red Borneo kratom, which is good for sleep, and then valerian, like a teaspoon of it. But I'll look into these things. Thanks for sharing, Uncle Bucket. It has to be 21. It can't be 22, right? Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, if it really gets to 2022 and Trump's not back, I'll be majorly disappointed.
Peter, you're going to be disappointed.
And that'll be rough. I mean, I've been expecting him to come back sooner. And so, as Trump said, it has to be 2021. Something has to happen this year. And I think he's talking about something big, which means it has to be him returning. What else big thing could there be? I want Trump to tighten healthcare. He was trying to do that. And one of the last things he did before he left was he set up this law so that hospitals had to display their prices online, and that makes
This is one of the stupider things he says in this video.
more competition, because then if you have appendicitis, you could go online and be like, oh, this hospital's gonna charge me $8,000, this hospital's gonna charge me $20,000, and you choose a cheaper option.
Imagine being like, oh no, my appendix is about to burst. I better go Google what hospitals in the area will remove it for the cheapest. That's not how it works. You dumb fuck, Peter. I know you don't take your kids to the hospital, but maybe learn how hospital visits work. Also, ambulances can't do that. You can't tell an ambulance, like, I want you to take me to the further away hospital. Like, they're like, no. We legally have to take you to the nearest hospital if it's an emergency. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, sup, Hannah, here's a channel for Chudwatch, motivational speaker turned right-wing grifter. Sweet. Thank you. And Mike Mack says, Peter got a job and focused on being a better sorry. I'm in a different headspace. Peter, get a job and focus on being a better father, for God's sake. Man, fix your life.
So he was fighting for cheaper healthcare and making healthcare better. But
every way except to actually make it cheaper. He tried to get rid of Obamacare, Peter. He tried to take away healthcare from millions of Americans. Go fuck yourself. It's actually a little freeing knowing Peter hates me now, because I don't have to pretend to be as nice. Yes, I was pretending to be nice before. Fun fact. I'm a liar. Andrew Patella says, I didn't know that about ambulances. The U.S. is extra fucked up. 74 Quinn 74 says, I've had the ambulance rides to further away, but in network hospitals, but it wasn't an emergency. Bellsthar, thanks for 15 months, says, Peter Cope is too strong. Agreed.
But I didn't look to see what's the update on that. Hopefully, you'll come back and fix it. Interesting, Brenda. Could you be more specific about that theory? That's a very interesting theory. What do you guys think? Do you think he's come back in August? Do you think he's come back this year? Do you think he's coming back next year? Let me.
I think he's going to go on a grifting tour with Bill O'Reilly, which is the current plan. He's probably going to try and help Republicans get the House in 2022. There are talks of weird Republicans, which is basically most Republicans now, who want to win the House and then appoint Trump Speaker of the House, and then, I'm not kidding, this is a plan some Republicans have. They want to take the House and the Senate in 2022. They want to appoint Trump Speaker of the House, because technically a member of the House, the Speaker doesn't have to be a member of the House of Representatives, apparently. They then want to impeach Biden and Kamala, thus making Trump the president again, because the Speaker of the House is third in line for succession of the presidency. Tea with Goblin says, American healthcare is bonkers. My partner had appendicitis about 3 years ago and was in hospital overnight to have it removed. Not a cent out of pocket. No one should have to go into debt because their appendix blows up. I agree.
Let me know in the comments section. I think it's a good topic for a conversation.
Morok says, I died in the back of an ambulance once. That caused the ride's cost to go up. Why does he hate Hannah now? He claims that I make him look bad and that I demonize him, I guess, by showing the things he says. And I think he emailed me and said some people in my audience, which I have nothing to do with, apparently reported him to CPS for talking about driving while high in his car with his kids and not taking them to the hospital. So, hydrate. I think he's mad. Nick says, if they do that, they're just asking for a Republican Party to be considered a terrorist organization, and at this point, I'm not sure I'm against that anymore, and what do you think that'll do? Nothing'll happen. I'm a big doomer. I've accepted the doom at this point. I fully expect an outright fascist leader in the next 20 years that's going to turn American democracy into similar to Russian democracy, air quotes, with basically a leader for life like Putin. I'm a doomer, though. You don't have to agree with me. Profane Priestess says, if they pulled that off, democracy would be dead. Yep.
I think the option will happen at the end of this year. Define rapture, Goth Geek Gaming. I think that we're in the end days, but like some type of rapture event where we're all like brought into the sky and dead people and bad people disappear.
I wonder what % of the people that watch Peter's videos and streams are just people who know him through me, or like Surus. I think Surus has covered him once.
I don't expect something like that. You see anything worthy in McAfee videos? I watched them, but it's just a biography. It sounded like it was going to be evidence used against the enemy. Yeah, there was going to be 31 terabytes of information dropped last night. Supposedly his John McAfee's a dead man switch, but I haven't seen anything like that. It makes me wonder if this is another feint, trying to see what type of...
Oh my god, we're only 13 minutes into the video and we're an hour into the stream. We're going to be here all night. Bellum Guardian says, I don't think it'll be that bad, but I think we'll be stuck with milquetoast do-nothing neoliberalism at best until climate change kills us all. Here's the thing, though. I don't think that's sustainable. You can't have a neoliberal society where things materially continue to get worse for members of the population because that leads people to fascism. I fully believe that a lot of people who've been taken in by the Trump grift, by the Q grift, by the conspiracy theory grift are particularly vulnerable to that sort of rhetoric because of their poor economic situations. And no, I'm not trying to pull the economic anxiety thing. I think these people have other issues going on with them as well and their core belief systems about other people, but poor economic times and making people more stressed out because of their lack of opportunity does lead them to be more susceptible to extreme action and extreme rhetoric. So, no. I don't think you can have milquetoast neoliberals into the end of the world if it were a climate change apocalypse. I think things would get worse and worse and more extreme and authoritarian, especially as climate refugees become a thing and they start to scapegoat the problems of the world onto refugees, as opposed to the fact that we failed to do anything about climate change until it was too late and we didn't do enough. It'll just be a whole shit show. Tromboy for Wi-Fi says, I feel like the same as you, Hannah. I'm just looking around the world to see where I could raise my family instead of this shithole country during the Biden presidency. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, so you're at peace with the idea that Nick Fuentes, Caitlin Bennett, and Marjorie Taylor Greene will win the war? I'm not at peace with it. It sucks. I'm still doing this. I like to communicate that I'm against those ideas, but it is what it is. Sky Comet Fallen says, so he gave up on Trump coming back and is just going left behind now, I guess. And by the way, I'm not saying I would be complicit or sit by with like an authoritarian fascist regime. I'm just saying it'll be shitty and we would all have to do things about it. But I fully expect that to happen in the next 40, 50 years. Hopefully I'm wrong. I tend to be a pessimist. Nick says, how many of those vulnerable people just wanted to hear some anonymous 4chan shitposter to say what they were thinking all along? Many of them. Too many.
Ammunition the deep state has. This happens often. Like, dates are dropped and something big is going to happen on this day, and then it doesn't. But the deep state scrambles and kind of reacts like it will. So maybe this was a big feint again, pretending to attack the deep state, when in reality we were just seeing how they would react. I don't believe in rapture, but I try to live a Christian life, loving and forgiving and doing my best. That's very good. I respect that. They get better. 9. Prophets are saying rapture isn't going to happen and to stop listening to people who are pushed.
74 Quinn 74 says, I think Jake is right about society overall always going further left, even with massive setbacks. I don't think that holds up historically, but okay.
Well, I'd like to hear how you guys define rapture. I think that there is going to be a major solar event, probably. This is what Mystic 12 says, and I do believe them right now. And that there's going to be some transferring to 5D Earth.
Thank God. I'm so sick of this boring 3D shit. I was hoping for 4D, but they're giving us a whole extra D for free.
Before that happens, there's going to be like 3 or 4 billion people. I think half the planet is going to be killed through methods that are...
Society always progresses. Tell that to the Dark Ages.
That deep state's using to depopulate the planet. I think there's going to be mass casualties, and then a solar...
What even is that? The 5D Earth thing, which ironically is also something that gets used by New Age cults. Take a look at the Love Has Won cult, which is now called 5D, Full Disclosure. They believe in some spiritual whoozy whatsits that basically says, how do I put this? We live in 3 dimensions, but there are more enlightened beings that are spiritual vibrations that exist on higher planes of existence, and we will become one with them and ascend to higher dimensions of existence. Does that sound like nonsense that means nothing to you? Good job. You officially understand 5D. Morok says, I love D. Daddy Sume says, I have 2D to... Nah, too easy. I'm not gonna bother. You still made a message, though. So you did. You just lampshaded it. Andrew says, I thought the 5D Earth is the bad trip I'm gonna get on Tuesday after I get my first shot. Chaotic Star Whale. Oh my god, does Peter think that the movie Knowing with Nick Cage is a documentary? Red Werewolf says, the Dark Ages were only dark in very specific parts of Europe. Most of the rest of the world were having lots of societal and scientific advances. We live in a globalized society. If society collapses, it's going to affect all of us at the same time.
Solar event, and then our DNA could be upgraded and we'll move to a 5D Earth. I think it's totally possible. Lots of watch.
We're all going to evolve like Pokemon. It'll be glorious. I'm going to hold the B button so I don't evolve.
Just say tonight will be the rapture, or otherwise a transformation. Really, 24th of July is a high watch date? Interesting.
That was yesterday.
Do you believe in the 5D New Earth we're hearing about? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I actually took cue from you. I do think that's possible. Can you do an impression of Biden? I haven't tried. I'm not really good at impressions. Honestly, to make that Rachel Maddow thing, it took me like 2-3 days, and I watched her video over and over and over again, and then I redid the video over and over and over again because in the beginning I was not good at doing impression. An impression of Biden? I don't know. Let's see. How about? Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Give me my notes. I don't know. Joe Biden.
What was that?
Is just so clueless. Juan says, I take it that you still haven't researched
Giga Sam says, nailed it.
Russell J. Go yet. No. I honestly, I haven't. I've been very, very busy, Juan.
Is it even a Biden impression if you don't call out corn pop?
Sorry about that.
Now listen here, Jack. Me and Corn Pop went down by the fishing pole back in the day where we would get 2 flivels for a nickel, okay? This malarkey nowadays, you go down to the store and you get maybe 2 for $1. It's ridiculous. We need middle out growth, okay? Still bad.
I still have faith in Trump. I trust the plan. I trust the man. He's gonna work out. Let's see here. I just wanted to give you guys the 411 on who the Antichrist is. His name is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And before you bash me, keep in mind, we know Dwayne is for sure an evil person.
That sounds something like a dog-faced pony soldier would say. Oh, I know that reference. What's that from?
That's for sure. So, hey, I'm open-minded to it, but from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 1,000 Antichrists.
Can I be one of the Antichrists, guys? If there's 1,000, I might actually have a shot. Because, like, if there's one Antichrist, I'm not going to be the Antichrist, you know? But, like, if there's 1,000, I could be one. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to be one of the top Antichrists. I'm not going to be at the top of the Antichrist hierarchy, but, you know, maybe a middle management Antichrist.
With Dwayne Johnson being one. Interesting theory.
Daddy Sume says I'm 100% the Antichrist.
Here. Is there a rational non-conspiracy explanation has been held up scrutiny by experts, and what do the experts say? How plausible is the conspiracy? Which conspiracy specifically, Carlos? Can you be a little more specific? Peter, I read that hospitals are just refusing to comply with that, and they aren't posting their prices. Really? Interesting. At least 8% of them are refusing to comply. It makes me mad. Well, maybe because Biden's not enforcing it. But if Trump was here, they would do it. So, you know.
Trump signed that like a long time ago, so he had plenty of time to enforce it.
The fact that they're not
and I don't know if that's true. I don't know if what this guy's saying is even true.
Complying just shows how corrupt they are, and then when Trump comes back, he's gonna be like,
is that like Satan's Horcruxes? Satan played the long game, and his Horcrux is actually every Christian Bible, so he can never die.
Like penalties, I'm sure he's gonna be like, you guys didn't comply, so you're gonna be getting in trouble. I just want all you to be aware. If you don't believe me, do me a favor and scrutinize this man and his words and actions. Yeah, feel free to criticize me, scrutinize me, debate me. I encourage it. I don't have all the answers. That's why my channel is called Peter's Political Perspective, not like the facts of life.
You have another channel called Trump has won or something. Hold on, what is it? Trump is winning? Like, that's not an opinion, man. That's just, like, what you think is happening.
Yes, please challenge.
Yeah, Peter's Trump updates.
My words, my actions, and don't believe me just because I said it. Please do your own research.
I did. You're wrong.
I always say, do research, do research, do research. I never say, I have all the truth and I'm always right. No, and I've admitted when I'm wrong. So, yeah.
Not on the things that really matter.
Call me out. If you think I'm wrong, Julio says Trump is coming back pretty soon. I agree with that. He needs to announce Nassar Jassara, but it has to step down for... interesting. I've heard about that. I think Nassar and Jassara are coming too. Rapture is when the believers in Christ fly to heaven with their bodies. I don't think it's going to happen like that. I don't think that's going to happen.
I think it's actually supposed to be... true Christians that are still alive immediately disappear into heaven, and the bodies of dead Christians will float up into heaven and rejoin with the spirit counterparts. Zozo Horror Show, thank you for raiding. Welcome, raiders. We're watching Peter's 2-hour-long live stream. Peter is a QAnon conspiracy theorist, friend of the show, or at least he used to be before he decided to hate me, which is fair. I'm an asshole. And yeah, we're just having a good time, chilling, talking, watching this crazy dude. Go check out Zozo Horror Show. You're on Twitch.
Hey, Clint. Yeah, maybe I can invite you this time, or maybe not. We'll see how it goes. But thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, Clint. Let's see here. The Olympic opening tonight. Oh, yes. There'll be lots of signs and symbols. You're right. You're pretty aware. These Olympics and these Super Bowl and everything is like Illuminati triangles and, all this weird stuff all the time. It's got to push your symbology, right? When everyone's watching, rub it in people's face. Like, what did Bill Gates say? Bill Gates is like, I couldn't find the video on YouTube anymore, but remember he gave this speech about depopulation, and he's like, if we do a very good job with V's, then we'll be able to reduce the world population. And then this is one of the people who's pushing the V's.
This is one of the most debunked conspiracy talking points ever, and I hate that Peter and other people still push this. So, Bill Gates was talking at some event about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and their work and vaccines and population and all that stuff. And he mentioned offhandedly that if we do a good job getting vaccines out to people in developing nations, then we can decrease the population and help with climate change and help keep the population from getting out of control. Now, what he means by this, conspiracy theorists take this to mean, see, he admitted it out in the open, because I guess they think he's an idiot, but also a super genius, but he forgot to not say the quiet part out loud here. Where they think he's like, vaccines are going to murder people. Oh my god, he just admitted vaccines are going to... No. What Bill Gates is alluding to there is the fact that when you introduce vaccines and other modern medicines to developing nations, and we've seen this time and time again, birth rates go down because over time they have fewer children. This happens because infant mortality rates drop severely. Therefore, you no longer have to have, 8 kids in order for 2 to survive. So you just have 1, 2, maybe 3 kids on average. And the population overall decreases, population stabilizes, either gets right at or even below replacement level, like the United States. The United States is below replacement level because people choose not to have kids. And that's fine. I don't want kids. Probably Cthulhu has just got here. What did I miss? Conspiracy nonsense, basically. Pyromancer says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Bill Gates. Michael Scott. Wayne Gretzky.
And it's like, guys, you know what these are for? What Bill Gates was talking about. I already got it set up so Ruckus, we can all look through it carefully. Oh, record it. That's great. Yeah, let me know what you find, Uncle Bucket. All right,
This is one of the funnier... Goth Geek Gaming, this is the funniest shit you've posted.
Biden, my Crohn's disease has gotten worse. Aw, sorry to hear that. Have you tried taking hemp CBD medicines?
I like that Peter was perfectly able and willing to accept a comment that implied that their Crohn's disease getting worse was the fault of Biden becoming president. Damn you, Biden! Dame Aya, thanks for 5 months, says, haven't been able to catch a stream in a while, but hi, Chat and Hannah. Hello.
I would do flowers over CBD oils, but maybe that...
Goth Geek Gaming, have you tried Peter's advice? Are you smoking the dank weed or using CBD oil?
I think that could have an impact on the Crohn's disease, at least with managing the symptoms if you took it daily. I've been trying to challenge you, but you don't do your research. Well, you know what? I have limited time for research, and so...
Pank Raru says, Hannah, this person was normal before? Did you watch their descent into QAnon madness? Peter's... Oh, okay. So Peter was raised in a cult environment. Peter was raised by an offshoot of the Moonies, if you're familiar with the Moonies. They're basically a church that is a gun cult. They wear bullet crowns at church and bring their assault rifles to church with them as part of their worship service. They have arranged marriage. They're based out of Pennsylvania. And I think that made him very susceptible to this sort of thinking in the first place. He's always been into sort of alt health stuff. He's big on the CBD, marijuana cures all illness bullshit. And then at some point he got dragged into this Q stuff. So he's always been into sort of weird stuff like this. But it's gotten much worse since the Q stuff, I would imagine. If you're going to follow Peter's advice, make sure you prepare the oil with... I'm not even going to say that because of the misinformation. I know you're being sarcastic, but yeah. Peter tried to prepare CBD oil himself using isopropyl alcohol, which is not food safe. Don't do that. Use Everclear or some other food-grade alcohol. Nick says, Peter would have been better off having been raised by the Mooninites. Mooninites. From Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Probably.
Oh, people say, like, look up this person, look up this person. Like, I haven't had much time to do that. But I do have some people that I trust, and I get my information from them. For example, I like One American News Network. One American News.
You know, the trustworthy source that is One America News.
They're spreading a lot of truth. They're totally trustworthy. I get some of my news from them.
You can't do it because you're poor as hell and Biden is making it so I can't get SSDI. I'm sorry. That fucking sucks.
This is very important, what they have on here. And I also really trust Majestic 12. This is my other source. And then Trump. You know, Majestic 12 has been talking about Project Apario a lot, which I'm going to bring up in a minute. But this is also a great source. You go to Trump's Telegram, like, he will keep you up to date on the news.
Does Donald Trump actually have an official Telegram? Donald Trump Telegram. Hydrate. Daddy Sume says, all I have to say to Peter anymore. And then there's a link.
I hope you can see this because I'm doing it as hard as I can.
Telegram marks Trump's channel with over 500,000 subscribers as fake. The account was not verified by Telegram's administration. There were no comments about the channel's authenticity from the White House. Oh, so Peter is following a fake Donald Trump account on Telegram. What a genius. I shouldn't be surprised, but I am disappointed. Sky Comet Fallen says, Peter is going to drive me to drink. He's a good person, but he's so unhinged and no one can save him. I'm wavering on the opinion that he's a good person at this point. He's a polite person. He's a nice person. I don't think he's a good person. There's a difference. I think Red Riding Hood said it best in Into the Woods. Nice is different than good. I'm sure there were a lot of Nazis that were very polite and cordial to people around them. They're not good.
Oh, I wasn't talking about scrutinizing you. I was talking about scrutinizing Dwayne. Oh, no worries, William. I was the one who got it confused. Sorry about that. Dwayne Johnson is what he's talking.
Yeah, there's a TV tropes page. Of course there is. There's a TV tropes page for everything. Good is not nice. Yeah. Go on TV tropes if you want to spend the rest of your day down a rabbit hole of interesting articles.
Well, I get or 9. Thank you, William. Glad you weren't criticizing me. But either way, I'm open to people, debating or criticizing me. There's been times where people have proved me wrong and debated me and challenged.
Do you smell a theater kid? I did not do, and I regret it, honestly. I wish I had done on-stage theater in high school, but I didn't. I did behind-the-scenes stuff, so I changed, like, gels and stuff on the lights, and did set changes and worked on that stuff, but I didn't actually perform in the plays.
Challenged me, and I took their viewpoint, because I was like, you know what, I was wrong about that, and
I wish I had, though. I think that would have been fun.
You're right. And that's good.
Either way, I had fun with all the, theater people.
We should just humble ourselves and eat some humble pie.
That counts. In my school, it was different, because theater was like an actual class, but the people who volunteered for the tech stuff weren't in the class, so it was a little different. We were part of it in the sense that we, were there during the rehearsals and everything, and we hung out, but, we were separate. I was friends with a lot of the people in the theater, though. I'm still friends with one of them. We hang out sometimes. She's very nice.
Get down to the truth of it and not care how accurate you are or whatever, just as long as you're pursuing the truth and being okay with being wrong. Peter, you missed something I said. One of the reasons I want Trump back is because I'm tired of these. Ugh. Yeah, these people are mind controlled, goth geek, and they're just doing what society told them to do, and it's very disappointing. But people who are, that's as specific as I can get. It's just sad, those people are just brainwashed. Religion is how we got here, by having a foundation of untruths accepted by society, and many are prone to believing they're untruths. Before you know it, the bad guys are eating babies. There's good that comes out of religion, and there's bad. I think if you focus on believing in God and praying to God, and if you take the best out of religion and leave behind the worst, then it's worth looking into. I know that the 17 movement's been very religious movement, and they talk about God and the Bible and stuff. Remember, God wins, or let's see, is an ex-wrestler and actor for Disney these days. Oh yeah. Honestly, he's a pretty good actor, and I do like watching his movies, but every time I watch movies with him, I'm like, you're such an evil person. I know you've done horrible things. Yes, he definitely is. He's definitely...
Who is he talking about? I missed it. Said something about Disney.
Oh, really? Interesting. I heard Oprah was the handler of... what's his name? The guy who plays... Can't remember right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's a...
He's talking about The Rock. I feel like I'm crazy. I've talked about this before. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who doesn't find The Rock charming. I guess I don't get it. I think a lot of people find him really charismatic, and that's fine. I don't have anything against The Rock or anything, but I just don't like him in movies usually. I find it a little fake. And I know he's an actor, but
handler of a lot of people.
Isn't The Rock a Republican? He might be. I don't know. That's not even why. I just don't think he's... I don't find his charisma to be something I like. He's fine in Moana, but I didn't really like him that much, if I'm being honest. He's my least favorite part of Moana.
Well, you guys trust Fox News? For me, I trust some stuff that's been coming out. Like, Tucker's been pretty good lately, talking about the truth.
It very much feels, and I know he's an actor, so, I understand. I'm not blaming him for this. I get it. All actors are putting on personas at one level or another. The difference is those work for me, whereas The Rock's persona just comes off as very fake and surface level to me. I can tell he's doing a thing. He might be a very nice guy. Again, nothing against the dude. I just don't really... if I see, there's a movie I want to watch, but I'm like, The Rock is a star or a main supporting person in it, it makes me go, do I want to watch this?
I like Judge Janine. I like Waterworld and a few other people on Fox News, but the rest I don't trust. The station itself, I don't trust. I do think it's interesting that they've been saying a lot of very shocking information that I thought that mainstream media would never talk about, like Hunter Biden laptop that's been on Tucker, and then I showed you the other stuff Tucker's been talking about. Maybe if what Majestic 12 said is true, and I'm leaning towards that, maybe the pages have control of Fox News, and maybe then we can trust more and more of what's coming out of Fox News. Just because they have control of Fox News doesn't mean everything on it's going to be true.
He isn't a nice guy. He has a story in his bio about how he choked a woman.
With the release of all this information that's coming out, especially with Trump, it's very important for Trump to have one good source of media to get information out. So if he controls Fox News, that makes a lot of sense. If not,
he doesn't.
One American News Network is going to be in charge of getting all this truth out to everyone. Do you guys, what do you guys think? I mean, the way I look at it, there's the, Hunter Biden laptop, there's the Hillary Clinton's emails, there's the DNI report, there's the Durham report, there's all these bombshells. There's 31 terabytes from John McAfee. They're all going to drop.
McAfee!
There's so many huge, massive amounts of data that have been collected that are about to drop. And the question is, what's Trump's plan to get this out to people? The mainstream media is not going to cover it. I think it makes sense that he would take control over Fox News. I mean, he knows the crimes of the people who work at Fox News, so he could just go to them and be like, hey, we will cut you a deal, but let us use your platform to get the truth out.
Raven G3226 says, these people who believe a cabal of, quote, elites eating babies is in satanic rituals are woefully unaware that the normal system we live in sacrifices children to capitalism, the most mundane of rituals. Yeah. In fairness, of course, I'm going to see it from this perspective because I'm very left-leaning compared to the majority of the United States. But, like, it feels like a lot of the problems, like, really far right-wingers have and QAnon people are really issues they have with capitalism that they don't fully understand. But again, that's my bias probably coming through and seeing what I feel are the root of a lot of societal problems. I'm sure it's simplifying things, but who knows. Steve with the Q says, John McAfee, the fast coffee magnate. And Profane Priest says, QAnon is just a reskinned blood libel, right? It takes from blood libel, but it takes from other stuff as well. But yes, a lot of it is reskinned blood libel. The adrenochrome stuff specifically, yes.
But I don't believe everything on Fox News. What do you guys think Fox News is being more truthful lately or not? You disagree with me? I'd like to hear what you guys think. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Like, you know, there's all different types of people, and I think it's important to just love people, you know, support them. Some people who are, you know, transgender or gay and that stuff, they've had a tough life, and really what they need is not a bunch of criticism and attack and hatred. They need to be loved, and once they feel loved and, you know, they love their body and they love who they are, I think they'll be more oriented towards healthier life choices, in my opinion.
So it almost sounds like Peter is going to be an ally there, right? He almost sounds like he's going to be like, hey, you know, let LGBT people live their lives and be who they are. And he's like, well, no, you should pretend to accept them, because if you accept them, then they'll correct themselves and stop being gay and trans. Close. So close. No cigar, though.
I see you don't trust Majestic 12. Who are you talking about, Alexander? I trust Majestic 12. Yeah, I said Trump controlled Fox. That's still my stance right now. I do think Trump controls Fox. Unless something different happens. I don't trust everything that's coming out of Fox, because I think the transition to truth is going to be a little more slow than that. But Fox has been dropping big bombshell truths lately that the only reason I could rationalize why that happened is if the patriots are controlling Fox News. Why do you believe Majestic 12 are lay-ins? What burden of proof meant to confirm this? The great question, Carlos. I appreciate you asking. Majestic 12, they had a Twitter account where they tweeted 13,500 times. I read all those tweets, and then that account got shut down. Now they have a Telegram account, and I've read all their comments and seen all their posts. I spent 2.5 to 3 years vetting Majestic 12 as a source. So I trust that they're real, and they say that they're interdimensional aliens interdimensional means they don't need a body, but they sometimes use bodies. They're beyond bodies. That's what interdimensional means. And supposedly they're on the moon using some type of body suits or whatever, and that they're channeling to this person who is typing for them here on Earth on Telegram. It sounds crazy, but I've heard much crazier things. I believe they're real because they've made a lot of crazy predictions that ended up turning out to be true. Like that spaceship's going to fly over the July 4th parade, airship parade. And
yes. Remember on July 4th when we all discovered aliens are real because they flew over a parade and we all saw it?
And then I saw spaceships fly over, and they said certain things were going to happen with the...
Small spoiler if you haven't seen it, but Peter makes it seem like he was doing you a favor by using your pronouns, and Seculoid had this to say.
Nobody should appreciate you for doing the bare minimum. You weirdo. Gendering somebody correctly is the bare minimum. Nobody should appreciate you for doing the bare minimum.
Right on.
Nobody should appreciate you for doing the...
Do I follow Seculoid? I don't. Followed.
Election, and certain things are going to happen with the V's and all this stuff, and everything they said has come out to be true so far. especially the recent thing about Fox News is going to be more truthful soon because the pages control it. I think that's even more evidence. But don't believe it just because I said it. I vetted them. Feel free to vet them yourself and challenge them, debate them if you disagree. I thought Trump was only in charge of the Space Force. Yeah, this is correct. From what I understand, there's Trump commanding the Space Force, and then you have Majestic 12, who are not commanded by anyone, but still on Team Trump, and Majestic 12 with their technology and, you know, and all their stuff, combined with the Space Force, they're fighting the deep state. That's what makes sense to me. That's what Majestic 12 has been saying. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm standing about that right now. Let's see. I want to see if I can get to as many listen.
Ambiguous Samus, thanks for 13 months. Happy 13 months, Hannah. Happy 13 months to you as well.
Majestic 12 says Trump
We're only half an hour in, and we've been doing this for an hour and a half almost.
controls Fox, but I guess Peter doesn't believe them. I don't trust Majestic 12 either. I think it's a hoax. Oh, I appreciate you speaking up about it. I do believe that what Majestic 12 is saying is true. Now, if Fox News starts pushing more and more and more lies, and it starts looking like the...
I wonder how Peter feels now that some of the Fox News people have started being like, hey, you know, take the vaccine. Curious. Flannel is bored, says, I love how he can just breeze aliens living on the moon messaging an Earthling to tweet for them. Yeah, he's pretty deep in.
They don't control Fox News, like pages don't control Fox News at all, then that's one big red flag, and I'm not going to trust Majestic 12 anymore. For me, if it's like, because there's so many scammers out there, if there's just one big thing that some type of insider gets wrong, I don't trust them anymore. So if it turns out that...
So we shouldn't trust you, right? Because you get things wrong all the time?
Fox News is not controlled by the Patriots, I am going to stop trusting Majestic 12. But so far, it looks like Fox News is controlled by Patriots.
Zenthachal, or is that Zenthachal? Zenthachal says, is Ulysses 31 one of the Majestic 12? Ulysses 31. What's Ulysses 31? That sounds familiar.
Why do you guys think it's taking so long for all these bombshells to be broadcasted? I think part of it is there's worry when all this truth comes out, all these bombshells,
Anime?
that how is the deep state going to react? Are they going to blow up a bomb in the city? Are they going to...
In the city. Peter's seen too many movies. Or not read enough books. I don't know which.
Release their own information, or what are they going to do in retaliation? Because they have to distract from these bombshells. So there's, maybe they'll shut off the internet. I think that's what they were threatening to do the other day with all these outages. They're like, we can turn off the internet. And from my understanding, the deep state does have that power to shut off a large portion of the internet.
Baja says, no, Hannah, because Peter says he's correct, so he's correct. That's true. That tracks.
Oh,
I know that's true because he's correct because he says he's correct, and he says he's correct because he's correct, so I know he's correct because he says he's correct because he's correct. Makes sense.
I think it's a matter of timing. You know, these bombs, these are truth bombs in a huge information war. So you want to be accurate with your timing.
They love to LARP like they're digital warriors. It's very strange. I think it belies a certain insecurity and a lack of agency. It's interesting.
And you want to do the most damage possible with these pieces of information. So that's why I think it's taken so long for this information to come out. But all these bombshells, the Hunter Biden laptop, Hillary Clinton emails, all that is coming out bit by bit. Let me show you guys where it's all accumulating. This is very important. This is the most important thing you'll hear in my stream. Oh my gosh. I need to learn how to write properly. Project.
Speaking properly would also probably help. And thinking properly would help even more.
I can write, I just not the best typist. So Project Aperio, this is very important. If there's one thing you learn from my entire channel, it's this. This is very, very important. I'm not going to read these out, but this is a declassification. What's it say? What's the current thinking on whether it's a fake actor in the White House or the real Biden? I think the general consensus right now, Hugh, is that the Biden of the past and the current Biden are different. They're different people. I don't think that the Biden in the White House anymore is an actor working for us. I think he's just another cabal member, and the original Biden probably was executed or died, or he's a clone or something.
I saw a good one today. I saw, I don't remember if it was Great Awakening.win or some other QAnon site, but they were like, I think they took Joe Biden's face and removed it and put it on an actor. And he's wearing Joe Biden's face, and that's who it is. I want to take his face off. Go watch Face Off. I could eat a peach for hours.
But the Bidens are different. But getting back to this is all these information, like Hillary Clinton emails, UFO stuff, Fauci-gate, JFK, Epstein, Seth Rich. All this stuff, these
I've not watched Face Off recently. I just like the movie Face Off a lot.
Classified files have been released, and this website collects all these major pieces of information and says, hey guys.
Oh, you were just talking, I think you were just talking about the person who posted that, actually. My bad.
Here's an easy way to research it. So this is...
What if they took his face and switched him with Trump? That means Trump is really president. That was actually a 4chan post at one point. It was a joke, but...
Basically a website that's giving the power back to the people and saying, stop trusting your government. Do your own research. Here's all the declassified files of Hillary Clinton emails. You know, just click on it. Now you can go to your Hillary Clinton emails and start reading through emails. So instead of just trusting people and what they're...
Oh my god, look at this one. That's a good one too. God damn. You're like an endless, bottomless pit of amazing emotes. Thanks, Joe.
They're saying we now have this great website that allows us to go ahead and do research by ourselves and verify for ourselves.
Joe Aconite made that.
I mean, I don't have so much time to look into it, but there's interesting stuff here. Like, here is, you know, a French government study on UFOs. Like, if you're into UFOs, you can research all the stuff that's coming out here. But Project Aperio is a very, very big website that's going to have a huge impact on the world. And
they are making another Face Off movie. I'm very excited for it. I love Nicolas Cage in Face Off. He's so good. Hold on, I'm going to add that emote real quick. Emotes. Gonna add some emotes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have... Okay, I think this is my last open emote slot. It's a level 3 emote. So until we get more sub points, no more new emotes. I guess you guys should all subscribe if you want any more emotes.
They're currently seeking people to donate to them. I'm very supportive of this.
Muddy says, just got back from a camping trip and I'm ready for some cope. Good.
Whole video on Project Aperio because
hope the camping trip went
this
well.
Is where all the declassified documents are going to be and where people can research for themselves. Like, don't take my word for it, but definitely check out this website. Very, very important. It's going to create waves, this website. This might be one of the most important websites in the world right now. Maybe small, maybe getting like 50,000 visits a day right now.
I don't know. If you've been on Reddit, it has interesting graphs, Nazis, and pornography.
But it's going to blow up and it's going to change history. Mark my words. Project Aperio. I'll make a whole...
Oh, I got to put the screen. Sorry. Doo-doo-doo. Ravenarm, thanks for following. And Supa Vaporeon, thanks for following.
Whole video about it later.
Hey, Lou.
Let's see here. Let me go down. See what comments. Hi Peter, how are you? I'm good. Zeriki Shadow, how you doing? Did Sean Hannity really encourage the
He did. Sky Comet Fallen says Nicolas Cage is a dick. My sister's acting major professor lost his chance to act in Hollywood because Nicolas Cage refused to work with him because he didn't like his face. He should have taken his face. That sucks, though. Rather Than Day, thanks for subscribing with Prime for 3 months, as my cats Archimedes and Cinnamon say hi. Hello, Archimedes and Cinnamon. Enjoy being a cat today.
I don't know the answer, but I do know that the jab's not something I'm really allowed to talk about.
No, you can talk about vaccinations. Get your vaccination. Why can't you say that, Peter? Everyone should go get vaccinated. The vaccinations are good and you should get them. I got mine. Get it! It's not fucking controversial.
I think it's possible he may
You just can't lie about it, Peter, which is what you want to do.
have done that. I think it's possible. They posted a telegram. If they were aliens, they'd override Twitter with ease, and they'd clearly want to be on Twitter. It's a hoax, and nothing this has been proven. I respect that you disagree, Alexander. You're thinking for yourself. No offense taken. But the thing is, they could go back. You're right. They have, because they're aliens. They do have the technology. Just be like, oh, you're taking down my Twitter account? Fine. I'm gonna do some alien tech and then blah 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 get my Twitter account back.
Yeah, if they can travel here from another dimension, they can probably hack Twitter. You'd think. McAfee, thanks for 14 months.
Yeah, in theory they could do that, but what they said is that the Twitter Majestic 12 operation was over, so there was no point in like fighting or trying to get their Twitter account back, because just like Mr. 17 had an operation that ended, Majestic 12 had an operation on Twitter, which ended. And honestly, now they're doing a second operation, which is on Telegram. And Telegram is a better place to be posting anyway.
Yes, much fewer people and way more furries. What a better place to communicate with the general public.
But, you know, I appreciate if people disagree with me. Hey,
You had to upgrade because of the tier 2 emotes? Oh, yeah. Oh, it was tier 2. Thank you. I appreciate that.
challenge me. I'm not afraid to post comments here that people disagree with me. This is discussion. We're a community of all intelligent people, free thinkers, and together we're going to get to the truth, get down to the truth. But what I do know is
Aliens travel light years to Earth only to use Twitter, right? Surely they must have unproductive arguments on their own planet.
Trump is winning for sure. That's for sure. That's what I know for sure. And that he said himself something big has to happen this year, which sounds to me like he's going to come back.
Here's the one.
Will you ever talk to Hannah again? You know, Hannah burnt me. My last debate, she did a whole bunch of leading questions to vilify me in front of in front of her.
Questions like, Peter, have you driven your vehicle with your children in it while high? Is that a leading question? The answer could have been no. Of course I wouldn't do that. Instead, he answered, I don't... He giggled and said, I don't want to answer that question. And the other question, which I think he's probably offended by, was when I was talking about medical stuff, and he admitted to not taking his children to the hospital or the doctor, ever. Those weren't leading questions. You just had bad answers, because you're a bad father, in my opinion. I miss you too, Baha.
Her audience.
I did. I asked that because he made it sound like he did. Yep.
She made me out to be like some type of monster in front of her viewers.
Did I, Peter? Or did you?
And I have called her out on this before. Stop trying to vilify me. And so I don't think I'm going to interact with Hannah anymore. I don't respect how...
That's okay. You put on enough content as it is. We can keep this going. Turn-based style.
Oh, I'm so nice to her. And I'm like, hey, which pronoun should I use? You know, so nice. And I give her...
Again, that is, like the other person said, that's just bare minimum.
her compliments. I even use her pronoun. I like everything. And then
You better have a burn heel. I think Peter should have an escape rope from the whole Q thing.
she'll vilify me and make me out to be some evil person. So from now on, I'm just going to ignore Hannah and her trolls.
He says, while interacting with a chat primarily composed of fans of mine.
They're not respectful. You know, these are not Democrats I want to associate myself with. Thank you, 48 people, for joining me this Friday afternoon. I appreciate it. This has been great. It's only been 35 minutes, but I'm having a great time. She was very rude.
True.
She was very rude. Do you believe in Kim Clement? Can you be more specific?
I know. I should have just accepted that he wants Trump with the military. to take over the country, destroy democracy, and murder all his political enemies. I was very rude for saying that that's bad. I shouldn't do that. Very rude of me.
Joanna, who is that? Less audience on Telegram, but what has been just said that's been absolutely proven? Okay. Some of the Alexander, that's a great question. What has Majestic 12 said that's been absolutely proven? One thing that they were saying...
I know, that's funny too. If he thinks I'm bad, can you imagine if he had a discussion for even 10 minutes with Jake? He thinks I'm mean? Oh, boy.
That really struck me was how cannabis was had the ability to cure cancer and it can help with diseases and get rid of diseases and stuff like that. And Majestic 12 pushed cannabis as a medicine only. They never talked about any other medicine, just cannabis. And as someone who's researched cannabis for 15 years or something,
he means he smokes dank weed every day.
Like that. And
Muddy says, Peter, I'm not going to interact with the trolls. Also, Peter, I'm about to do what is known as a pro gamer move.
Written 4 books on medical properties of cannabis. I agree with Majestic 12 that the only medicine we should be recommending is cannabis. So just on that level.
No, take actual medicine. If your doctor, and you're in a legal state for medical or whatever, says like, hey, you have inflammation or seizures or one of the things that there is actually some amount of study on that shows cannabis or CBD might be able to help in some way. I've heard CBD is good for like inflammation and maybe headaches and seizures and stuff like that. Great. It's not a panacea. There's no such thing as a panacea. It doesn't exist. Different medical issues require different medical interventions because the body is complicated. If one thing could solve all of our bodily issues, no one would have bodily issues. Daddy Sume says, oh god, I want to see that now. FFF, I want to see Jake tear Peter into ribbons. I don't think that would go very well. Mike says, not even Jesus could revive Peter if he had a debate with Jake.
The fact that they are aware that cannabis is the only medicine that really needs to be recommended because it covers all your medical needs, that made me really trust Majestic 12. And then they said stuff like, we're going to fly over on July 4th with our spaceships. And then they posted pictures of their spaceships flying over on the July 4th Trump plane parade and all this stuff. They showed those pictures of them flying over.
So your proof that Majestic 12 is real is they said they were going to fly their spaceships over a thing, and then that same account posted photos that you believe show that. Do you think there's any conflict of interest there, Peter, that they were posting photographs that supposedly prove their own prediction? It's a good thing no one can edit photos, right? That'd be embarrassing.
With the orbs, with their spaceships. And then Trump posts the exact same picture after Majestic 12 does, and then retweets it 4 times and says, wow, lots of people here. So how did he know? Why would Trump retweet this photo 4 times? I've never seen Trump retweet a single photo 4 times in a row. And it was the photo of lights.
Let me see if I can find whatever photo he's talking about. How am I going to find this? July 4th UFO photos. Trump. Raven G3226 says, the thing is that weed won't cure anything. It can help with some things, but this goofball says it's it's the only medicine we need. Even if that's so, Peter, I'm sure that lighting it on fire and smoking it will absolutely not cure anything. Do-do-do-do. Doon, 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 doon. Doon, 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 doon. Doo 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 doon, 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 doon. It'd be 2020, I think, when he's talking about. Yeah, Peter, you gotta include your sources and photos if you want us to take you seriously at all. Like, I can't even find the photos you're talking about.
In the sky over Trump during the July 4th, celebration with spaceships. I mean, with airships and stuff. So he said there was going to be alien spaceships over, and then there was, and he showed us the picture, and then Trump showed us the picture, and then Trump kept retweeting the picture, and then you have a whole bunch of other stuff the Majestic 12 has been proving, that stuff I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube, but...
Daddy Suma says, nah, it's like this. Heroin is the only medicine you need, because while you're on heroin, you don't need to care about any problems. Don't do heroin, kids.
What's been happening here and what's going to happen
Unless you're on your deathbed, then, like, why not, you know?
in the future, Majestic 12 has confirmed a lot of that. They told us
I'm joking. Don't do heroin.
what was going to happen with the election. They said what was going to happen with the V's and all this stuff.
Mike Mack says cocaine is better. I can't say I have an opinion. I've never done anything other than, like, weed and mushrooms.
And the purpose of all
And I don't plan on it.
that. But they've also talked a lot about decalcifying your pineal gland. And what is their fruit? They'll say, the Bible says you will know them
If I drink a bunch of milk, will it recalcify my pineal gland so I don't fall for this conspiracy bullshit?
by their fruit. The fruit of Majestic 12, big accomplishment, Majestic 12, is Project Apario right here. And Project
Carney says, this makes no sense. Correct!
Apario, I'll answer that in a second, Zarek. Project Apario is what Majestic 12 has been pushing the most. So if Majestic 12 is some evil disinformation agent, why is it they keep on telling guys, go to Project Apario, support this website that's allowing anyone to research Hillary Clinton's emails? Like, at a minimum, Majestic 12 is on our side.
If they're full of shit and evil, why are they telling us to go to this conspiracy theory website to demonize Hillary Clinton yet again, even though there are real things you could demonize her for? Look through these emails and find fake connections about pizza. 74 Quinn 74 says Snipe becomes the stream boss.
And so that I can respect, because look at what they're pushing. They're pushing something good. Versus Ghost Ezra pushes the flat Earth theory. That's the main thing Ghost Ezra pushes. So you have two information aids.
I gotta get a Telegram account at some point so I can follow these wackadoos. E-Tune says, I want to turn my pineal gland into a skipping stone.
Agents. And Ghost Ezra is pushing flat Earth theory, so he's a disinformation agent. And you have Majestic 12, who's pushing Project Apario, which is making people smarter and aware. And we can now read all these declassified things. So the fruit of Majestic 12's work has been Project Apario. They have predicted many things, and the more and more of this information of things they predicted, like the 2 billion people are
plus Telegram's got a lot of furries on it. Maybe it'll awaken something in me. A lot of chat would probably like that.
Die from V's in the next 2 years, and that what's going to happen with the election, and that everything's under control. All that's going to be proven eventually. Thank you, 50 people, for joining me. I really appreciate it. You guys could be doing anything, and I feel honored 50 people want to join me and talk to me. If you guys have questions, let me. I want to answer all. Cannabis for the win. Yes, I love it. A lot of that hasn't been proven either. Majestic 12 is literally unconfirmed. Hey, look, Alexander, you haven't read all of Majestic 12's tweets, so I get that you don't trust them, and
Mike Mack says, I mean, look how good Donald Trump Jr. was on CPAC, and cocaine was on Coca-Cola, was recommended by doctors. But seriously, don't do drugs, kids. And Cupcake Chaos, thanks for 15 months.
I respect that.
If I was a furry, what animal would be my fursona? What are the options? I guess any, probably. I think I've answered this before. I think I decided some kind of dinosaur. Maybe like a triceratops. I don't know.
Totally fine, but more of Majestic 12's predictions are going to come out true, and then you'll end up believing it. That's what I believe is going to happen. Fauci is scared and nervous. Watch his hand on it.
Because why would you want to do I feel like the fur is just asking for problems. I'm just saying.
Interview. Yeah, I know. Yes, that's a great point. When Rand Paul was targeting Fauci and saying very interesting things like, hey, the gain of function and all this other stuff, his hand was shaking. I watched that. I watched his nervous hand in the video. So yeah, that's true. You will know them by their fruit. Thus, it is important to walk through the world with loving kindness. I agree, a getter 9. That's why I trust Triceratops.
That feels like an art challenge, if that's how you take it.
Majestic 12 so much. It's like,
Goth Geek Gaming says Peter in the future with a link. Yeah, it's the pineal gland from Beyond, I think.
this is the fruit. This is what they've created.
Not a furry.
Project
Raven
Apparel
says,
has
not a
been
furry,
the
but I love B
Big
stars.
thing that
I pretty
Majestic 12
much
has
am
helped create,
Legos.
and it's helping the world become a better place. So at a minimum, I
I've
know
not
they have
seen
high
that.
integrity. And so then the next questions are, can Majestic 12 keep predicting the future? And if
Daddy Zume says, Hannah's persona. Do not open on stream. Okay, I won't, but I want to see it. Okay, sure. Yeah. I think I'd go blue, though. Ooh, purple. Can a Triceratops be purple? Why do you have immediate access to so much furry porn?
as long as they can keep accurately predicting the future, they're going to be one of my main sources. I take cannabis CBD concentrates every day. It doesn't help my diabetes or my ulcers. It's not, and I haven't seen the picture. Could you show it? What picture are you asking for, Alexander? Make sure that what you're getting is organic, Alexander, because most of what's being sold is unfortunately full of pesticides grown in toxic ways, because there's very little standards for, like, oh, if you want to buy something for a dispensary, there can be pesticides, and the most products in dispensaries aren't checked for chemicals unless there's a strict law in that state. So
my state does have that, actually. The dispensary I used to go to had like I've actually been to multiple dispensaries in my time. One of them had you sign a release because they didn't check stuff like that. So it might not be a state law here, actually. But then I went to a different dispensary that was more expensive, but they did have, like, official checks and stuff on stuff like that. So probably just depends on where you're going. But also, it's kind of ironic considering Peter uses isopropyl alcohol to make his CBD, which is poison, so
make sure what you're getting is organic. And if you want it to help with your ulcers and diabetes, I recommend you only eat it and eat high amounts for, like, I'm talking about, like,
or if you have diabetes, actually keep track of your blood sugar and take insulin if your doctor tells you to do so, because cannabis is not going to cure your diabetes.
like a pound over the course of 3 or 4 months, or like 120 grams over the course of 3 or 4 months, then you'll see a real good impact on your ulcers and diabetes. Anyway, look into it or not. While I love cannabis, it's not a miracle drug that cures all diseases.
Wait, did he just say to eat a pound of cannabis a month for your diabetes? Mike Mack says, what if I told you the rabbit tried to give a bee job to the wolf, thinking that that's what he wanted from her, she was wrong and didn't do it? What are you talking about? There's a link, too. Am I gonna click this? Yeah. Yeah, I am. Oh, it's like, is it a manga? Is this a manga? Looks like a manga. It's that B-Stars thing that people were talking about earlier.
Well, the thing is,
120 grams is 2 ounces, then he said a pound. Yeah, those are two very different things.
I worked with Rick Simpson, and Rick Simpson
The Netflix show
was
is
a close
good?
friend of
Oh, I
mine.
didn't know there was a
And he
Netflix
blew
show.
up the concentrate market, and it's very important because to know this, because Rick Simpson went and cured his cancer, right? I don't know if you heard about this, but he cured his cancer with cannabis oil, and then he became famous for it, and he's telling everyone about it. But then he's gotten thousands and thousands
Daddy
of
Sume,
emails
stop
from Rick
posting
Simpson
links to
saying,
lewds.
guys, I tried eating 120 grams of cannabis oil, and it cured this, and it cured that, and it cured this, and it cured that. Hundreds of diseases have been cured with cannabis. So, in fact, we have yet to find a disease that it can't cure. So, by definition, it would be a panacea, right? If all these emails that Rick Simpson
Panaceas don't exist.
got are true, and I have no reason to believe otherwise, because they provided video evidence, they provided photos. So I understand that's not proof for you guys. The fact that Majestic 12 was endorsing cannabis is not proof for you guys, but the truth will eventually be revealed. It's okay to have an open mind and to not agree with me, and I think I'm sometimes on the leading edge of
I
truth.
wonder how Peter would feel that I'm so bored by him right now that we resorted to looking at furry lewds. Raven says, the problem I've noticed with some weed is that people extract the trichomes to use to make dabs. Trichomes are where most of the THC is, so what you get from the dispensary is less potent. Sidosaurus says anecdotes, the truest form of proof. And Mathis Octavius, thanks for subscribing for 2 months, says came for the cringe, stayed for the furry chat. Mike Bassick says, why can't the right see that they're so easy to grift to? I don't know.
Truth, which means I sound crazy to people, and then eventually this stuff comes out and confirms what I've been saying. So it's totally okay if you guys have doubts. That I respect that. Let me see here. What are you guys saying? Rick Simpson is a liar. I also know how to use every to make constant. Not a expert. I'm a chemist. That's very cool, Alexander. Rick Simpson is not a liar. I know him personally. He even said I was like one of his best friends. He's not a liar. I've spent many hours.
He's not a liar. He said I was one of his best friends. Technically Alien Man. Thanks for 12 months. Happy anniversary.
Dozens of hours talking to him. He says what the truth, and he's healed millions of people. Have taken his advice and used cannabis and cured the diseases. Millions of people.
No.
Well,
you can't just say stuff, Peter. You can't just say words and make claims that aren't true.
You only hear a little bit about it.
Have you guys noticed Peter has stopped shilling for that CBD company? Did his wife put her foot down and say, like, hey, this is bullshit, stop wasting our money when we're already not doing too well financially and we have a new kid? Profane Priestess says, fun cleanse, shitting on a certain turf.
And thanks for coming in. I just wanted to clarify some of the ideas you've got about the wonderful world of wizardry. So first up, you wanted to include goblins. What are they going to be like? Goblins are these long-fingered, can't be trusted, sneaky underhanded, hook-nosed, swarthy-skinned bankers, and they secretly run the world. Okay, okay. Well, you've got something else. You've got elves, house elves. Yes, house elves. What? Tell me about them. I've never heard of that before. Tell me about them. House elves are these happy slaves. They're these elves, and they love being slaves. And the ones who don't love it are the weirdos. They are eager to please. They are always cheerful, always going to smile. They don't want to be free, and they speak in a kind of pidgin English. Happy slaves. Okay, cool. And that's essential to that universe, is it right? Yes. You've put this word Vila. I've not heard of Vila. Is that a magical creature? Vila are like beautiful women, but then they turn into monsters because you can't trust women, and all beautiful women are evil. Okay, nearly there. Just to note, you've put evil people equals fat. What does that mean? Yes. Fat people are evil. They're horrible. Fat is bad, but also thin is bad. Too thin is also too bad. Bad is thin. So fat is evil, thin is evil. There are no average-sized evil people in my universe. Right. And then we were looking at introducing a love interest for Harry. Yes, Cho Chang. She's a British Chinese witch. Okay, and is Cho a girl's name in China? Nope. I actually wanted to publish it to promote science for children. You've mentioned there are mermaids in this universe. What are your thoughts on mermaids? I hate mermaids.
On the news because they keep censoring it. Every time someone tries to make a big documentary or something, gets blasted and censored. If cannabis isn't curing a bunch of stuff, why are they spending billions of dollars to make sure it's illegal?
Because the prison industrial complex and private prison lobbyists make sure that it stays illegal so they can continue to line their pockets, pharmaceutical companies, because it can be used for certain things like pain relief, entrenched old-school politicians who stand to make money from these lobbies, all sorts of dumb shit. Conservative religious types, prudes, etc., etc.
Why is this such a big threat? Makes you wonder.
Capitalism would be the shorter answer. Yeah.
Anyway, again, another person who is Tara, I respect that.
That's true. Didn't even get into the whole war on drugs race angle thing, but that's a conversation for another day.
You
go watch the 13th on Netflix.
Disagree with me. That is totally okay. This is a political show anyway, so cannabis is not really relevant. Tell me more with my relationship with Rick Simpson. Where and how do you work with him? I don't work with him. I worked with him on a tiny little thing here. I was in charge of I made a deal with him early on where he would endorse my Cannabis Paradise book. In exchange, I would write his Wikipedia page. So I wrote his Wikipedia page. He endorsed
Is that allowed on Wikipedia?
my book, my cannabis book. And
Are you allowed to pay someone to write your own Wikipedia article?
then we became good friends after that. But Wikipedia took down my page of Rick Simpson because they said, "Oh, you can't say cannabis can have an impact on cancer." That I said,
Yeah, you would need to substantiate that.
Rick Simpson alleges that cannabis cured his cancer, and they're like, "Oh, well, you're not allowed to say that," and so they took down the article. But I became good friends with him. Anyway, with cannabis, I'll stop talking about it now. But if you don't believe me, I respect that. But if you're open-minded, try it. For example, I had a little cancer tumor right here growing here, and I've been putting cannabis oil on it, and it's disappeared. Little cancer tumor.
Bear in mind, he doesn't go to the doctor ever, so when he says I had a cancer tumor here, he means I found a bump on my face and I guessed it was cancer with my zero medical knowledge. It's probably just a pimple or some other type of growth that people get, and he put cannabis oil on it and it went away like it would have done anyway. He's not qualified to diagnose himself with cancer.
Shrunk and disappeared. I'll show you guys before and after later. So
Could be an ingrown hair, sure.
if it doesn't shrink cancer tumors, how did it shrink the cancer tumor
It wasn't cancer, Peter!
on my face, People don't believe it until they see it. But once you see cannabis curing diseases, shrinking stuff, like the impact cannabis has had on my mom's Alzheimer's has been so positive. She's made such a big recovery by taking hemp CBD flowers, low in THC, completely legal. That's had such a positive impact on reversing her Alzheimer's. And people say, you can't reverse Alzheimer's, you can't reverse Alzheimer's.
You can't.
Like, well, did you try cannabis? Well, that's why you haven't been able to reverse it yet. My mom is not completely cured of Alzheimer's, but she has made a huge recovery. And so, like I said, don't bash it until you try it. But anyway, have the abductions gotten better or worse? I haven't had any weird abduction or stuff
That's
like
good.
that.
That's good.
Experience
Did you
in a
make that for
long time,
Jake?
But my daughter's been saying she's been hearing spaceships outside the window. She's like, yeah, Dad, I hear spaceships outside the window. So I'm
Yeah, your daughter probably is hearing noises and thinks it's spaceships because her insane father goes on and on about UFOs and probably tells her that aliens exist and visit the planet Earth regularly, you idiot.
like, oh, I don't know about that. But I haven't had any alien or abduction experiences or anything that happened recently. He says the truth and provides no evidence. If Rick is curing all these folks, they won't come forward. Alexander, I respect that you are a very critical-minded person, but people have come forward. Look at all the documentaries, and there's like a dozen cannabis curing cancer documentaries out there, and there's a ton of...
And how many peer-reviewed papers in reputable journals? Just checking. Raven says, anyone remember Bang Energy claimed it could cure Alzheimer's? Oh god, did they?
People were speaking up about it. You just get censored. You talk about it on YouTube, this video is probably gonna get demonetized because I even mentioned it.
Peter, every video I make gets demonetized too. Stop being a whiny little baby and acting like you're unique for getting demonetized on YouTube, when at this point that's basically the norm.
Wikipedia is censored, Google is censored, YouTube is censored, Facebook is censored. You have to ask Alexander, if this is false, then why are they working so hard to censor it? We know how big tech works. They only censor the truth. So
No, they
why do
don't.
you keep censoring it? Yeah, Everclear is best, and it's expensive though. I think
Everclear is not that expensive. Tea with Goblins, thanks for gifting a sub. Hold on. Everclear. How much does a fifth of Everclear cost? It's $20 for a fifth of Everclear. It's expensive. Jesus Christ, Peter! How broke are you? You have 3 children! Stop spending money on weed!
Isopropyl alcohol is fine if you make sure all the alcohol is evaporated off. Obviously, isopropyl alcohol is not food safe. You can't eat it. But if you...
Back especially when I was in, when I was in my hardcore alcoholic days where I was doing like a fifth of vodka a day, I'd get either Absolute or Sky, and that ended up being about $20 a day, and I did that every day for like a year. So get on my addiction level, Peter. It's a joke.
Evaporate it all off. I don't see a problem with that. And Rick Simpson had the same opinion on that. How legit are med beds? Are Palladians real? Great question. Actually, my video.
Oh yeah. I do get blood tests regularly. Although in fairness, they're not looking for anything like this. I do have to go get like general blood tests done by my doctor. But I have gotten blood tests and stuff since I stopped drinking that heavily, and I've been sober for like 4 months or something now. But apparently I'm fine. My family has a oh god, where'd the thing go? My family has a pretty big history of alcoholism. I think my liver is pretty resilient, although, yeah, I'll probably see some damage someday. I don't know. But either way. Mike Mack says, Idiocracy was never a movie, but a documentary from the future.
Make a video this weekend about med beds. I'm very excited. Majestic 12 has said that med beds are coming in the next 10 yees. And
Peter, why would you need med beds if marijuana cures everything? Or is a med bed literally just like a enclosed... is it just like an enclosed chamber that pumps in marijuana smoke? That's a med bed. Red Werewolf says, Hannah, Ceratops. Let me see. Why won't it open the link? There we go. Oh, that's so cute! Wow, you did that really quick, too. You're very talented. Thank you. Wow.
I have a really bad arm that was shattered.
74 Quinn 74 says, that's amazing, Hannah. Happy for you. We noticed how happy you are, not only transitioning, but quitting drinking. Well, thank you. Argonian Bum, thanks for 12 months. Happy anniversary.
Shattered and broken. I don't know if you guys can see, but I got some scars here. I really shattered my arm, and I got some scars here for it. And I'm hoping that med beds are going to fix my arm, because this arm has no cartilage at all. Oh, there's no cartilage in here.
Go to the doctor!
When I broke my arm, it broke into so many pieces that the doctor basically said, like, we took all your cartilage out of your wrist, and your wrist is going to be in pain for the rest of your life. And the only thing that can fix this wrist is a med bed. Med beds are legit. They're alien technology.
They're not. I'm sorry about your wrist, Peter. I really am, and at least you did actually go to a doctor for that one. But yeah, if they said it's going to hurt for the rest of your life, it's probably going to hurt for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, that sucks. Chronic pain is no fucking joking matter. I get that. But like, yeah, that's not going to get cured.
Palladians are real as well, in my opinion. And med beds are coming the next 10 years, and they'll be able to fix stuff like this. Like the fact I have no cartilage in here, no disease, no medicine, no surgery can fix that. But med beds can. So I'm very excited. I'm going to talk about more about my wrist and med beds later, but that's a great question. Peter, ever since I learned about your alien experiences and you taught me about the truth, I've been noticing special lights in the sky and seeing small crafts hovering along the river by my house. Wow, that's crazy.
What's a Palladian?
That's so
it's an
crazy.
Alien.
Guys, on this topic, did you guys hear about the story of like there is... I wish I remember the exact story. Basically, there are these Indians and there are these colonists, and these Indians were looking out on the ocean and they were seeing clouds, and they're like, oh, those are clouds. But then after looking at these clouds for a long time, they changed into ships before their eyes. And what would end up happening is these people believed that the sails on the ships from the colonists were clouds. And because they believed they were clouds, they saw clouds. But once they believed they might be like a ship or something, they turned into ships in their reality.
That sounds like an urban legend.
So it's what happens often is that once you start believing aliens could be real and that UFOs can be in the sky, you look up more often, and because you believe it.
Not even an urban legend. It sounds like a folksy bullshit thing colonists would make up.
You see it more often. So I don't think it's a coincidence that I'm convincing you that aliens are real.
the Pleiadians are a star cluster, so he probably thinks beings from that star cluster.
Crafts are real, and then you're starting to see this more in the sky. I think that actually happens with a lot of people. You know, I don't want to get into specifics of it because Hannah's troll audience does follow me, but
and you've been answering their questions. I appreciate that, Peter. Sidosaurus is also probably group delusion.
But Hannah vilified me and made me out to be some type of horrible criminal. And then, you know, she basically sent out her troll army to get me.
I did no such thing, Peter. My audience does whatever they want to do. They're individual people. I don't tell them to do anything unless it's like reporting a video somewhere where someone is breaking YouTube TOS. I don't tell them to do fucking anything. Actually, no. One time Terrence Popp made actionable threats that I had them report to the FBI. But other than that, no.
Obviously, I haven't broken any laws. I haven't done anything wrong, so nothing happened. I'm totally safe.
Ravenwolf says, "Wow, Peter, how paranoid are you?" He does a lot of weed, so.
But you know, the fact is, when you're a public figure and you show any vulnerabilities, then people will try to attack those. So these leftists like Hannah, the fact that I was being honest and sincere and telling the truth, they took advantage of that, took that information, reported me, and tried to make me look bad. But the authorities, they're like, Peter's fine. They checked me out and they're like, he's totally good guy. So how did you hurt your arm? It was about a week or two after I married my wife. I was dumb enough to climb down a balcony after it rained, and then
why did you climb down a balcony?
For the balcony was like 15 feet high, and all the weight of my body landed on my left hand because I was taught in martial arts, if you're gonna fall, put your hand out so your face doesn't smack against the floor. So I put my hand out to defend my face from smacking the floor, but all my weight, 170 pounds, landed on here from 15 feet in the height. So basically my arm was shattered to pieces, and the doctors couldn't really fix it. All they could say is, we'll give you movement. We'll give you this movement, but don't expect anything else from your arm. And now I can't really pick up my girls, and I can't do a lot of lifts. It's demasculating because I'd like to be able to do a lot of, manly stuff. I'm going to lift this and move the refrigerator and do this, but it's like every time I do it, my arm's in a lot of pain. It's okay. You can watch it from the beginning, Lyra Star. No problems. Peter, that's a serious pain you must be living with. I am sorry. Well, I appreciate it. You're a very nice person. It got her 9, and you know what? It's stuff like this that makes me happy. I get to talk to people like you who care, who are nice, who are smart. I'm so lucky that my passion has brought in any money, and I can talk to you guys and have fun like this. So I can, even though I do have pain from my wrist and my arm and stuff like that, I'm a very lucky individual. Let me see what other questions you guys have. What would learning about the truth of it all make me a target? It's been scary. That's a great question. If you're worried about aliens abducting you, it's possible that believing in aliens could increase the chance they could abduct you. But at the same time, if you are a high vibration being, then I feel like only good aliens can abduct you. And if you are, the
bad aliens show up to abduct you and like, oh no, man, he's too high vibration. We can't pick him up.
Getting into dark stuff and going to the dark realms and being more of a evil person, then I think that bad aliens can abduct you. So as long as you're, high flying vibrations, you're full of love and joy and happiness, and you're really doing God's will, I don't think any negative entity can touch you.
Aliens very much care about who's doing God's will.
I think, the power of God and all that can protect you. Some of you guys just sit there and blast him on everything. Get every farmer don't want you to know. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. It's okay, Zerek, but I appreciate it. Yeah, it's, what, it doesn't matter. Yes, Uncle Bucket, I'm not going to pull that up, but they did do that. And I didn't have any effect because the people know me in this community, and so there was no problem. But yeah, they did do that. I'm not going to bring up that comment, but yes, Uncle Bucket. That's how
I think he's talking about the CPS thing. Mike Mac says, Peter, why is your arm still bad? You use weed, don't you? He thinks weed can cure diseases, but he thinks that, like, stuff where there's actual missing stuff, that it requires, like, surgery or physical intervention. Muddy says, as a demon alien from another dimension, I can say that the vibes do matter.
Evil they are. I'm in your audience. I'm also in Hannah's audience. I like you both. I hope you patch up your friendship. I want to be Hannah's friend, but I told Hannah to stop vilifying me and take down those clips where she was making me sound like a criminal.
Again, he asked me to remove the entirety of our second interview because of the things he said in it. Not words I said, words he said that were his own responsibility, and I did not. So he's mad. Morak says, as a former martial artist, this is not how we're taught to fall. Hell, we aren't taught how to fall from that height at all. If he's talking about falling training in general, the idea is to either tuck and roll or to relax and try and distribute the impact across your side or back. And Baha mirrors that sentiment, because Baha, I believe, knows judo.
And she refused to take down those clips. So she wants me to look like a criminal. Then that's where my friendship ends. Like, friends don't go out to attack you and try to ruin your life.
Peter, they're your own words.
And stuff like that, which is basically what she did. So I'd like to have a relationship with Hannah, but, like, maybe she needs some humble pie. Maybe when Trump comes back, she'll get some humble pie.
You know, yes, when Trump comes back and does a military coup and starts a fascist government, I'll eat that humble pie right before I abscond to an attic somewhere. Or an underground resistance in order to try and stop the fascists. Raven says, I heard someone say judo is the art of hitting people with the planet.
Biden is suddenly against defunding the police and said Capitalism is a failed system. I think that's proof it's a white hat identity. Biden. Brilliant point, King OG Music Library. What do you guys think about that? That is an excellent point that the King has brought up. Why is Biden switched to now defunding police is bad and communism is a failed system? Like, is he just...
That's never not been Biden's position. Peter doesn't even know what he's talking about. Biden has never been pro-communism. That's for fucking sure. He's not been pro-defunding the police.
Talking, maybe to get Republicans on his side, or are White Hats controlling him? That's a great question. I got to get my day started and get out of this house, but thank you again for all you do, and thank you for well, thank you for joining us, William. I appreciate you being part of this conversation. All right, what are you guys talking about? I'm not allowed to talk.
The art of hitting people with the planet or their own body weight? It's relative.
I'll talk about that. If you guys want to know my thoughts on stuff that
KBS 6666, I'm socialist and I'm anti-communist. I would tend to agree.
not a lot.
At least the... Okay, when people say communism, there are different things that come to different people's heads. Either we're talking about the Soviet-style or Chinese-style communism, or we're talking about the idealized version of communism where it's like a classless, stateless society, which you can disagree with me, I personally think is impossible. Classless, maybe. Stateless, which is why I consider myself more of, just general left-leaning. I don't identify as a communist.
I'll talk about on YouTube. Go to my Rumble account and you'll hear all my opinions and thoughts.
A tanky called me a liberal the other day. That was fun.
That's about stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about. I watched the debates. It seemed like she told her audience not to attack you. The recent debate, she'll be like, oh, don't attack Peter, don't attack Peter. And then she'll go on a rant and ask all these leading questions to make me out to be a criminal. So it's very, if you watch the first few minutes, you're like, oh, but she told her audience not to attack you. But then...
I stand by that. Don't attack Peter.
Then she spends the next hour vilifying me and...
Peter, it's an interview. We're talking about your beliefs, and your beliefs are inherently villainous. It's not my fault that you espouse the fact that you want Donald Trump to extrajudicially come in with the military, although you claim he'll have nothing to do with it. He'll just, he's got to step back so he has no culpability. But... factually, you want Trump to come in with the military, wipe out his political enemies using the military, hanging them, shooting them, basically creating a military coup and a war, killing who knows how many civilians and innocent people in the process. And then you're mad that I vilify you by having you explain your beliefs? I'm not vilifying you. You're a villain. That's giving you too much credit. You're a henchman. Ravenwolf says, Peter, take responsibility, you fuck. And I'm a trans male with a bad disc in my lower back and in my neck, and it still worked 2 jobs, one very physical. Stop being weak and blaming. Hannah wants you to do well despite you. True.
And make me out to be a criminal. So
is it just me, or is Peter a boring streamer? I would tend to agree. What's interesting is his batshit beliefs, not necessarily his delivery.
you can say all you want, but your actions speak louder.
You can say the same thing about me, though. I don't think my delivery is particularly good. I just think I find interesting people to cover.
Words, and she was making me out to be a criminal. Anyway, nothing bad happened to me because I'm an honest guy and I follow the law, but I'm not going to interact with Hannah anymore. Though I did enjoy those debates. The aliens might have gotten better at doing their thing. Be sure to check any weird marks on any parts of your body. So I guess you totally believe in aliens, huh, Goth Geek? I don't know. There's some of these comments I want to bring up. I'm Canadian.
Peter can tell that Majestic 13 or 12 or whatever's Telegram account is real. He just can't tell when people are trolling him in his own live chat. But he's real good at discerning people who are honest and from those who aren't.
I'm reading your Canadian. I'm reading your question right now, but I want to bring it up because I don't think I'm allowed to. But I know people in the movement are skeptical of Nassar and medbeds. Someone who is pushing Nassar the most was Charlie Ward, and Charlie Ward has turned out to be a scammer. So I'm not totally confident in Nassar. I'm like 80% chance that it's real. But medbeds was confirmed by Majestic 12, which is the source I vetted the most. And as a result, I do have confidence in medbeds. Now, a lot of the Trump movement, like, they're Christians and they don't believe in aliens. And it's very hard for you to believe in super advanced technology like medbeds that can fully heal you without believing in aliens. Because it's alien tech. And, you know, you've seen all the technology that Earthlings have, and you're like, medbeds can't be real. But if you realize aliens exist and that they're giving us a bunch of technology and a bunch of more alien technology is going to come out, then you're like, oh, okay, the possibility of medbeds. Yeah, that's possible.
Raven says, should read Marx's critique of Gotha Programma. It may give some more insight in how a classless, stateless society is possible, but within the political landscape of America, I'll agree it's highly unlikely.
I believe them because...
Okay. I don't really read theory.
Because you convinced me. Well, thank you.
I probably should.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a big compliment. Goth Geek.
Sky Comet Fallen says, Peter, if you're watching this, we're not going to hurt you. We just want you to get help. Agree. And Daddy Sume says, these are literally the sarcophagi from Stargate SG-1.
I try to open people's mind. A lot of people don't like it when I talk about aliens, but I think it relates to politics a lot, especially with Alien D-Class coming. And even Trump said that what happened in Roswell was very interesting, and he's going to tell us the truth, what happened in Roswell very soon. He didn't say aliens aren't real. He said, oh, Roswell, yeah, it's a very interesting topic, you know? A lot of Christians think, oh, if I believe in aliens, now I can't believe in God anymore. I believe in God. I believe in aliens. God created aliens. That's okay. That doesn't mean once you believe in God, you can't be a Christian anymore. Sorry, once you believe in aliens, you can't believe in God. You can't.
That was the end of your trolling. You got bored. Thank you for your service. Don't harass him, though. But I don't think what you were doing was harassment. You were just asking him questions. So that's fine.
Be Christian anymore. They're not mutually exclusive. Mitch McConnell warns of a COVID
He's probably citing the fake Trump Telegram account, and he thinks it's actually Trump.
Wave like we went through last year. Interesting. Yeah. That's who knows? Nassar is real. Prophets with act trackers have prophesied it for months. I appreciate the opinion. I think it's possible. I am a contactee, but my experience was largely positive. Well, if you could share, I'd like to hear, Lyra Star, what your experience was.
I need to start making fake... No, I'll just say it. I need to start making fake accounts and see if I can, like, get Peter to believe bullshit that I make up about aliens, and then reveal to him that it is me, and see, you don't vet your sources, you just listen to people that you agree with, to illustrate that he'll believe anyone that already falls into his preconceived notions of aliens and Trump and stuff.
That sounds very interesting. What about Simon Parks? I still trust him. You know what? Oddly enough, when Simon Parks talked about being abducted, that made me trust him more, because I was like, oh, that's my experience too. But then he started, Simon Parks started being called out as being a liar, and there's a ton of evidence that Simon Parks is a liar. But what really nailed it in the coffin for me, what made me stop believing Simon Parks, Hugh, is that he started pushing fake products. Like he was pushing this radiation product. It's like a USB drive that you plug into your computer, and then there's like a bubble of radiation protection around you.
Yeah, that's not how anything works. Wagroad says, we know what happened at Roswell. It was an experiment involving high-altitude balloons and crash test dummies.
He had no scientific evidence to back it up, and he was charging people.
The Roswell thing is actually really interesting in the sense that conspiracy theorists did the opposite of what they think they're doing, in that, I was listening to a podcast on this the other day, too, on Behind the Bastards, and I think they mentioned this, that the Roswell thing happened, and of course, if you don't know, Area 51 is, we know now, was an area where they tested a lot of planes and different air equipment for the military and intelligence agencies of the United States military. So the Roswell incident happened, one of their balloons or whatever crashed, and then someone was like, is it aliens? And the government, during the Cold War, not wanting it to get out that they're testing secretive military stuff, terrestrial stuff, if I need to say, at Roswell, fed into it and went, yeah. And then they started feeding false information to certain people, saying, yeah, I'm a leaker. We have aliens at Roswell, and we have UFOs, and et cetera, et cetera. So the U.S. government intentionally spread UFO conspiracy theories to cover up the actual research they were doing at Roswell. So conspiracy theorists, believing that they were uncovering government secrets, and the government doesn't want you to know this, were unwittingly spreading government propaganda to cover up the government's actual work at Area 51. Conspiracy theorists, guys, they're the same in every era. Not the brightest.
Hundreds of dollars for these radiation protectors. Anyone who sells you a scamming item and they know it's a scam, like, a radiation protector for $500, you put a USB stick in, and radiation from cell phone towers and from phones and stuff will never hurt you ever again. That's a lie, and they had no scientific evidence to back it up. And I dug into the product, there was no evidence to back it up.
Joe Aconite says, Pete in the med bed. Oh god, is that the Michael Jackson hyperbaric chamber thing? Mike Max with some sort of link. And I said, no, like a liar. I love John Mulaney.
Simon Parks knew this was a fake product, and he pushed it.
Thanks, Gothgate Gaming. I hope you feel better.
So, it is what it is. He's a scammer and he's a liar, unfortunately, because I like Simon Parks, but...
Hyperbaric chamber. Did I say hyperbolic chamber? I meant hyperbaric if I said hyperbolic. Raven says, something similar happened with the Illuminati. The people who started to conspire were trying to show how easy it is for people to buy into it. Yeah.
I was fooled.
Lily Lovestuff says there's a documentary about a guy whose job it was to give UFO people misinformation when they had actually taken photos of military test crafts. Yeah. It's interesting.
By him, Did I watch the April series? Yes, I did actually. Oh, Carlos, that's a crazy picture. I did watch it. I kind of liked it, but I didn't like the nudity and stuff like that. I'm a Christian, and I don't like being blasted with, pornographic content and all that. So I didn't like that side of it. It was interesting, though. I did learn more about the movement. Did you watch it, Carlos? Anyone seen The Gunner Wife? She lip reads so many Trump talking about time travel and aliens. I haven't seen that, but you know what? Oh, there's so many comments about here I want to talk about, but I can't talk about them on YouTube. Trump, who promoted every conspiracy theory possible during an interview with Fox News, Murray, but suddenly went mute and asked about the infamous January 6th call for McCarthy. Yeah. Austin, you're asking very good questions, but I'm not allowed to talk about those on YouTube. If you go to my Rumble account, you'll see what my opinions are on those things that you're asking. Maybe he doesn't know it's a scam. That's a possibility.
Yeah, Peter, you've done the same thing. You promoted a MLM. You also promoted a scam. You just didn't know it was a scam.
Simon Parks has put out a bunch of information that ended up being wrong. Instead of, when I got information that he told me and I told my audience and it was wrong, I apologized. I said, guys, I was wrong about.
Andrew Patella says, but are you sure none of those military planes at Roswell looked like Bender from Futurama?
Biden's
It's one of my favorite episodes of Futurama.
executive orders having no power. I'm sorry, I was wrong.
In fairness, I'm a sucker for time travel stories, even comedy ones, so.
When is Simon Parks?
Oh yeah, we're only halfway through this. I'm gonna probably start skipping some of the more boring parts soon here, because I don't want to be here all night, and I gotta exercise for the day still, so I gotta walk and then eat dinner.
Said, oh, I got a bunch of information wrong. I'm sorry. He's a liar, and he's never admitted to getting bad information. He's never apologized for getting bad information. So he keeps on lying. If you keep on lying and you're selling a fake product, I mean, 2 + 2 is 1. That's kind of how I see it. So
Mike Mack says, Mister, I'm my own grandpa.
You can't see people selling fear. I like that.
I like that came back later in a different Futurama episode when the brains invaded and Fry lacked, I think, what was it, the Delta brainwave because he was his own grandfather?
You're positive. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, you've been very supportive at Get or Nine.
Hey,
so
Kirsten.
Thank you for saying that. I try to be positive. I'm naturally optimistic because people around me are kind of
The new Doctor Who season trailer dropped? It did? Hold on, I gotta watch that. Wow, okay.
Whoa.
I'm the doctor. This is Raz. This is Dan.
No way.
Hiya. You're hiding something. Get inside!
Whoa.
Any questions? No. See you soon.
Even though I don't really like the Chibnall seasons of Doctor Who very much, they're still, I don't know. I'm a sucker for Doctor Who. It's my favorite show. There's a certain charm to it, even when it's bad. I don't know.
It's kind of like finding balance in my life is being
Plus, honestly, last season, the season arc was shit, but there were a couple of good episodes in there.
optimistic. Let's see. Demanded I'll be off. Trump replied, well, Kevin, I guess people are more upset about the election than you are. Oh, boy. I shouldn't have clicked on that comment. Biden won legally, everyone. Biden won legally. Don't you know?
He did. No sarcasm. He did, Peter. That's why we're over half a year into his administration. Stop coping. Reality called. It misses you. Come back.
These audits are fake and fraudulent. And I am a big supporter of Biden. Biden is the best president ever, don't you know? Just want to be clear on that because this is YouTube. Biden's the best president ever.
Peter, no one's telling you have to like Biden. I criticize Biden. You just can't spread election conspiracy theories that undermine democracy. You're at the beginning of Capaldi's run. Oh, Capaldi's is great. His first season's rough, but his second and third seasons are excellent. Citosaurus says, I saw a preview showing Jack came back. I haven't seen anything past season 6, so I need to catch up. How was it with him being back? I love him, so I wanted to watch it, but figured I'd be lost without watching the rest of it. I actually didn't see the New Year special from last year, which is where he showed up. So, I can't tell you. I gotta catch up, too, with the New Year special.
Anyway, it says, "Oh my God, Peter, I forgot about Simon's BS USB drive. Well, glad you realized he was a con artist." Yeah, I'm glad we agree on one thing, Alex.
Nick says, if I wanted to get into Doctor Who, where should I start? Good question. Okay. Let me show you where someone who's just starting Doctor Who can start. Okay, so Doctor Who started in, I believe, 1962. It's a very old sci-fi television show. It is, in fact, the oldest sci-fi television show still running. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you start with classic Doctor Who. I think that's something that's best left to watching later for a modern viewer, though there's a lot of really, really great material in classic Doctor Who. I'd recommend it once you become a fan, because it's very interesting going back and seeing where the show started and sort of the different doctors and how the stories have changed. There's some really good television there, genuinely. But if you're a new viewer of Doctor Who, I would recommend you attempt... Here's a good one. Here's a graphic for this. Don't Pinterest. Don't do it. Okay. When and where to start watching Doctor Who? I would say try and start with Series 1 with Christopher Eccleston. This is from 2005. Warning, the effects haven't aged well, but that's kind of a charm of Doctor Who, is the cheesy effects. At least in the earlier seasons. The effects these days are actually pretty good most of the time. So try and start with this. 2005, Christopher Eccleston, okay? There's some rough patches in there, but overall, really fun adventure time travel series. Good stuff. If for some reason you can't do this, if for some reason you start watching this and it's just not connecting with you, I would recommend checking out Series 5. Series 5 is another really good jumping on point if you don't know anything about Doctor Who. This is actually where I started watching Doctor Who when it was brand new. I watched the 11th Doctor's first episode when it came on BBC America in its first run, and I started watching it weekly from there. So check out that if you can't get through Series 1. And then after you get into this, after Matt Smith becomes the Doctor in Series 5, go back and later watch Series 1 through 4. David Tennant's great. He's not my favorite, but a lot of people love him. I also don't think where David Tennant comes in is the best place to start if you skip Series 1. Okay? And then the rest are Classic Who, which I don't recommend you start with. So, try and start with Series 1 from 2005. If you can't do it for some reason, go to Series 5. And then go back later and watch the other stuff. Which season does the Doctor help a guy have sex with a pavement tile girlfriend? I don't remember. Oh god, I know you told me how to pronounce your name. Ra Inks. I remembered. Man, I'm so pissed, and this is completely unrelated, but I'm back to stream because my schedule at work was changed without anyone telling me since I just got off vacation. So that was great. Got ready and drove to see someone else in place of me. Well, welcome back. Lily Love Stuff says, the effects from the original Doctor Who are what got me to watch it back in 2003 with the magic marker drawn on celluloid. Anyway. But Matt Smith's has 2 Neil Gaiman episodes, and one is the best episode ever, The Doctor's Wife. Yeah, it's a good episode. But yeah, check out Doctor Who. Good show. Really fun sci-fi time travel stuff.
Alexander. Peter's political perspective, Majestic Soul said, Bitcoin and CRP are going to zero. What's your take on it, and by when is your opinion? That's a great question. I don't know when, but Majestic 12 did say Bitcoin, they pointed out how...
Remember the candy monster from the classic series? Was that wasn't Paradise Towers, was it? No. Happiness Patrol? No, not Happiness Patrol. Hold on. Which one was that? It was earlier than 7, I think. No, that was 7. Okay, cool. Yeah, Candy Monster. Morok says, hey, I started with Peter Davidson and fell in love, but I was 6 and my dad was introducing me to shows so I would have Loved anything put in front of me, and Muddy says yoink. I'm assuming becomes stream boss.
How it dropped from 60,000 to 30,000, and it said that, and Majestic 12 said Bitcoin's going to go up again a little bit, but at the end it's going to crash when people find out who is the creator of Bitcoin, some evil person. So if I were to guess,
It was Happiness Patrol. Okay.
and I'm horrible with guessing times, but if I were to guess, it would go up to like 45,000 at some point this year, and then at some point in the next year, it'll crash to zero. That's my guess, but who knows? Have you played Red Dead Redemption 2, and did you like it? What do you think about I don't know who Arthur Morgan is. I've seen the graphics of Red Dead Redemption 2. That game looks so cool. I wish I could play it. I really don't have time to play video games nowadays, and nor do I have the money to buy them. But
Instead, I spend all my time on forums learning about conspiracy theories. That's a good use of my time when I have a newborn child.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Where is your accent from? I actually grew up in Latin America, in Panama, which is where the Panama Canal is in Central America, the skinny part of Central America, between North America and South America, that skinny part with the canal, that's Panama Canal. So I grew up speaking Spanish.
Oh, by the way, if you do start Doctor Who with Series 1 from 2005, there's going to be some episodes with some fart aliens. Get through the fart aliens. I assure you, the show is not usually like that. Those are some of the worst episodes of the show. If you need to skip the fart aliens and keep moving forward. I assure you, the fart aliens are not indicative of the quality of the rest of the show. Yet somehow they're in 3 episodes of the first season, and I hate the fart aliens, okay?
Spanish and English, but my English was, I guess, Panamanian English. So I guess you could say my accent comes from Panama. Bad English from Panama. But yeah, people say I have an accent. I don't really hear it, but maybe it's just an accent from growing up. I spent most of my life in Panama. I think it was like 18 years of my life in Panama. So that.
Morok says, Happiness Patrol with the Candy Monster is legit a really good serial. It's about fascism and how it strips rights away. It was literally illegal not to be happy, and if you were found to not be happy, you would be sent to the Candy Man and turned into candy. Phoenix Flight says, just finished The War Doctor Begins, Big Finish audio. It's pretty great. Yeah, the Big Finish stuff is awesome. I'd highly recommend it.
That's where I got.
And I wish they'd sponsor me.
Got any accent. Biden won the election, but he didn't. Oh, I can't say that. Biden is our president, everyone.
He literally is, Peter.
Get it through your heads. He's here to stay. He won legally.
Yep.
All audits are frauds. Get that through your head, people. And YouTube loves me for saying all this. You are right. I've been hearing a lot of stuff on Elon Musk. That's a great comment, and I want to talk about that because I was bringing up Elon Musk to be some type of savior for humanity. That's actually what blew up my YouTube channel to begin.
Thoughts on Rowan Atkinson playing the Doctor in the special they did in the 90s? You mean? Because he did that.
Because I made a whole video.
It was funny. I like that special. It's cute. It's a little weird at the end, but it's fine.
About Elon Musk being able to...
I unironically think if Rowan Atkinson was cast at any point in his career as the Doctor, he actually probably would do a pretty good job.
Help Trump's...
But that's he did it in a comedy sketch, so... Morok says, the fart aliens show up in every season of Doctor Who spinoff, The Sarah Jane Adventures. It was bad. In fairness, The Sarah Jane Adventures is for younger kids. Doctor Who's like a family show, so anyone from the ages of 5 to 99 can theoretically watch Doctor Who and enjoy it. Sarah Jane Adventures was for 5 to maybe 14 aged people, so... I don't really care. I haven't watched the Sarah Jane Adventures for that reason. I just don't. Actually, that's not true. I've watched clips from it. Like, there's an episode where the 11th Doctor comes in and talks to them, and that's fun. But, yeah, I skipped the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Save the world. Elon Musk is evil. I know a lot of people are saying he's neutral.
I haven't watched Torchwood either. I couldn't get into it.
I've been here.
And I like Jack Harkness, but I don't know. It didn't do it for me.
But he's neutral.
Someday I'll probably watch it, but
the world is a symbol. He thinks we're
especially, I would imagine, we're probably going to get a cancellation of the new Doctor Who at some point in the next 10 years. I hope not. I like Doctor Who, but, you know, it's bound to happen at some point. I don't think it'll be the end of Doctor Who. I think it'll come back someday in a reboot, you know, or whatever. But I think we're probably going to have more wilderness years, which is what was between, like, the 1980s cancellation of Doctor Who and the 2005 revival. We'll probably have another one of those, and in that period where we don't have new Doctor Who coming out, I'll probably be primarily listening to Big Finish audios and probably catching up on stuff like Torchwood.
Simulation, he's just going to play both sides. Elon Musk does good stuff and bad stuff, but I do think
Elon Musk is a piece of shit.
that he is leaning towards evil stuff right now.
Did I watch the show where they tried to do a universe with just K9 and no other Doctor Who things? Was interesting, but a bit funky sometimes. I did. It was terrible. I watched one episode and I was like, nope. In the first episode, K9 regenerates, and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Morok says, last bits of the day, I grew up with Doctor Who since, you know, Dad was a Whovian, so I grew up watching Sarah Jane Adventures. Even at age 13, I thought it was bad. Yeah.
And I do think that the chip that he wants to put in people's head is to control them, and so
K9 regenerated in the first episode of his spin-off series.
He's like an evil genius. Yeah, unfortunately.
Which doesn't make sense, because he's not Gallifreyan.
Charlie Ward says everything happening is pantomime for Trump to return.
Hold on. K9 regenerates. I know we're kind of devolving here, folks, into covering Doctor Who stuff, and I'm sorry, but... yeah, K9, for those who don't know, in the classic series and traditionally looks like this. It looks like a 1970s square robot thing. And then in his own series, in the first episode, he regenerates into the ugliest... looks like a toy. And I mean, the original looks silly too, but that's kind of part of its charm. But the new one looked like a Happy Meal toy. 74 Quinn 74 says, Elon Musk isn't even all that smart, right? He steals his ideas. I mean, he pays people, but then he takes credit, which is the messed up part. He projects this image of, I'm a genius, I'm creating all these things, and he doesn't. He just has money, and he pays people to make things.
What is that? Pantomime? What does that mean? Pantomime. I have to Google that. I don't know what that word is.
Pantomime is a specific kind of theater, often associated with the UK, that's very over-the-top, child-friendly, often.
Pantomime.
Basically, they're saying theatrics. Do you think everything is theatrics? Phoenix Flight says, your custom Sonic inspired me to get one for myself. It's dual-ended with Master Sonic weapon at the other end. That's pretty cool.
Pantomime, what does that mean? Is entertainment. Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah, the Red Nose Day with the Catherine Tate show with Tenet. Yeah, that was excellent.
The one and only.
I can't play it, but it's quite good.
See, you're
Vast Lunacy says, Doctor Who is kind of like Peter's stuff. Maybe Trump will regenerate into a Saxon-esque character.
practical entertainment.
Yeah, sure. I don't think Elon is like an idiot. I almost think Elon is worse than an idiot in the sense that he's an averagely intelligent person who thinks he's a genius. So Elon will go out and talk about, like, self-driving technology and AI being a danger and all sorts of shit that he has no idea about and no expertise in. And even worse, he has, you know, monetary investments in things like claiming full self-driving as a thing. And he just doesn't have the expertise to make the claims he makes. So he's not stupid. I think he's of average intelligence, and he's a really good marketer. He has great intelligence in marketing and selling himself and stuff like that. But he thinks he's smarter than he is, and that's always dangerous.
It's possible. It's a great question. It's possible. U.S. General Milley said Trump preached gospel to furor. Yeah. Oh, he's a traitor. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate the appreciation. Does everyone realize that Deep is behind 4 years on their agenda? Was supposed to continue under Hillary, but Trump got That's exactly right, Sean. They're rushing with their depopulation plan, with their socialism plan, with all their plans to destroy America. They're in a rush because they know time is running out. So it's like they have to do their plans and do as much damage to Earth, kill as many people with their methods of depopulation as possible. They have to do it. as soon as possible. You're right, Sean, and they're in a rush because Trump has destabilized and messed up a lot of their plans. I always thought you were from the American South. I was actually born in Mexico, and then I grew up in Latin America, and then...
That's a kind of American South.
But my parents are American, so that's the only reason I speak English pretty well. I think my English is pretty well. I'd say I'm fluent in English, but I trip up with grammar, and
Yeah.
my vocabulary is not as extensive as someone who fully speaks English. But yeah. You guys are, by the way, I'm really enjoying this conversation right now. Like, keep up in the comment section. Sorry, my nose is really itchy. Keep it up in the comment section. I like hearing from you guys. All these questions and comments, very, very interesting. Look at Olympic Stadium on Google Earth. Look at that. Ooh, and Horus eye from above. What the meaning, you know? Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't do a coup with Millet, Trump says, of top U.S. general. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have clicked on that. Yeah, anyway, I'm from the Midwest. You sound like a Midwesterner to me too. All right, interesting. I guess I have a Midwesterner accent. That's probably what's going on. Are there any slang words or phrases that exist in Panama but not in the US? I'm a nerd for that stuff. Yeah, they say stuff in one phrase is if a lot of very pessimistic Panamanians will say, you'll say something like, hey, do you think you'll get a good grade today? You think you'll get a raise? And in Panama, they'll say, if God wants it, si Dios quiere, si Dios quiere. So that's a common phrase in Panama. They'll be like pessimistic, but everything is up to God. So it's like, will I be alive today? Will I do well today? Will the operation go well? Well, if God wants. That's a common phrase used in Panama. Thanks for the question. Let's see what interesting questions you guys have. Are Pleiadians going to meet us at some point? That's a great question. I think they're already interacting with certain humans. I do think that in some point in the next 10 years, there will be some type of event where Pleiadians and a whole bunch of other aliens will come down publicly and just be like, hi, we've been interacting with you guys. We're the good guys.
I hope that's how First Contact goes. Spaceship with lights and fog descends from on high. The door, the ramp starts to come down. Lights, brilliant lights from inside the ship. You just see the silhouette of what looks like a traditional alien gray walks forward. The figure comes into light, and you see the gray skin, the bug eyes, the 3 fingers on each hand, and they just go, hi.
And it'll be, so if that's what you're asking, like some type of formal public meeting that the world sees, that could happen in the next 10 years. But from my understanding, you can learn telepathy.
No!
Which all humans have the capability of, and you can communicate with Pleiadians with your telepathy. So let me pull that up too. First contact. I wanted to make a video about this. Is it going to come up? Search of first contact. Yeah, so this website is apparently, there are these people, Sandy Wisdom ET, right here. They have a Twitter account.
When QAnon people say to do your own research, this is what they're talking about. By the way.
And apparently Majestic 12 says these are real. This is the official first contact people. They're alien.
I have more Twitter followers than the people who are officially doing first contact with an alien species. That's cool. Daddy Sume says, okay, so I have a friend who was under the impression that there are trans people who do not inform their doctors about their condition or their former lives. I've never heard of this. Could people in the trans community here tell me if they've heard of that? Like, for example, a trans woman goes to the doctor and doesn't tell the said doctor they're trans. I'm not familiar with that. It might exist. I don't know. In my opinion, I would tell my doctor, just because my doctor isn't there to judge me, and if they do, they're not going to be my doctor any longer. And I feel like that could potentially come into some, that could be a factor in medical determinations, and I'd like them to know that, but I have no idea. I've not heard of that.
Aliens from the future, aliens that actually like humans from the future, and these people are in charge of first contact, and you can actually tweet to them and talk to them, and they actually on their website, official first contact, they teach you about telepathy and encourage you to learn telepathy, and they say if you learn telepathy, they'll come join you. Let me see, where is it? Telepathy, where is it? Documents. Here it is. If you go to officialfirstcontact.com, go to documents. In English, they'll have a manual here. You can download it. Telepathy 101, a primer for the gift of the infinite voice. I've been practicing telepathy. It's real.
Oh, no. Muddy says, I guess since he figured it out, I might as well tell you I stole all the telepathy from you humans and I'm not giving it back. Peter thinks he's learning telepathy. That's a development.
Me and my daughter can read our minds a little bit.
Oh no, and now he's bringing his kids into it.
But if you want to be very good at telepathy, you have to eat a better diet. Kick out the sugar, the alcohol, tobacco, the GMOs that are calcifying your pineal gland. But yeah, we're meeting up with aliens. Elon Musk is a billionaire. He's out of touch like the rest of them. Yeah, unfortunately, I think he's the richest, even richer than Bezos, because we don't know how much cryptocurrency he holds. But I think he's the richest person on Earth. Oh, shouldn't click on that. Elon Musk doesn't...
Procagom says, telepathy stream when? We already had it. You just couldn't connect. Your pineal gland was too calcified.
Stand for anything but its own gain. Yeah, Uncle Bucket, I've seen that. I agree with you. If I was going to do... I should read these comments before I click on them. I thought you said on Hannah's stream that you didn't mind socialism. I said that...
Ender92 says, but don't worry, you can smoke as much weed as you want and still be telepathic. Yeah, apparently.
I wasn't against certain aspects of socialism. Like, I believe in an ideal society, healthcare would be free.
An ideal society, like every other developed nation.
But not... And it could be a government program, but I would want it to be free healthcare based on donations, not...
What? Peter, if that was going to happen, we could have it now, but that's not how it works. So you tax people appropriately, especially the wealthy, and then you have it work for everyone. Peter, no.
Like, we're going to tax you 60% and then you get crappy healthcare. Or I would agree. I think healthcare would be like, hey, here's a special government healthcare system. If the government can do a good job at efficiently, improving the healthcare system, I want to get involved. Problem is, the government always does a horrible job. They always waste money. They're super inefficient. There's no one making sure they're doing a good job. So if government can do stuff well, like healthcare, so there's certain things in socialism I like. Like I do like if the United States has, a blanket healthcare that was high quality and was optional, but I don't know. There's certain...
He legit has no idea what the fuck he's talking about, does he? It's like a cobbled together, duct-taped, like, right-wing Fox News, One America News, talking points all taped together, but without any of the underlying understanding of what he's talking about. Speedy Yoshi says, oh shit, I didn't expect you to be online on Sunday. I found this and thought you'd want to see it.
Hey, but what's that?
I did see that.
Things about socialism, about lifting people up out of...
I don't want to comment on it, though, because someone else showed, I think someone else showed the cop's body cam footage, which showed that the partner gave that to him and said he found it in the other dude's pocket. So I don't know. I don't know enough about that to make the claim. But I saw that initially, too, and was like, that's fucked up. But then the body cam footage is like, is it that? I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it unless we get more information on it.
Poverty, helping people who have disabilities, food stamps. I'm for these things. I just don't want it to be like we have to tax, people.
Why, Peter? You're poor anyway. You're not getting taxed. You make no income except for like $100 a month on YouTube. You're fine.
So I like the idea of like taking care of people. That's what the part I like about socialism. What I don't like is the mandatory taxes to pay for all of it. So,
Peter, you think billionaires are all Satanists eating children anyway, but you don't want to tax them? Are you okay? Vast Lunacy says it says a lot that people like Peter trust the government to kill the right people, but not to help save lives with healthcare. I know. It's sick.
I guess I didn't explain that well in Hannah's stream. I like the idea of society taking care of, like, making people have shelter and food, and
he trusts the military to do a military coup, but he doesn't trust it to give people medicine and life-saving healthcare,
education stuff. And I think that government money should go to it, but it should somehow be optional. You can be able to opt in or something. Anyway, I don't agree with taking money, taxes, illegal, taking money without people's consent. But
is he doing an unironic taxation as theft?
I do agree that society as a whole should take care of each other. So that's what
Yeah, that's why taxes exist, you dumb asshole.
Like about socialism. I was trying to find common ground with Hannah. I was trying to build a relationship with her, but I guess that didn't work out very well. Not necessarily. Rapture's not what you think it is. You're not going to be flying up in the air, and the people that don't believe are going to be left behind. You'll see. You just have to believe in the Lord.
Okay, I'm just going to start skipping through now and see if he says anything interesting, but we've been going for 3 hours, and I got other stuff to do.
I think now more than ever, we should panacea. I wrote a book that explained a new healthcare system that would charge people, would be opt-in, a government healthcare system, opt-in. You put in $50 a month to this government healthcare plan. You opt in.
You're describing a public option!
And you get set.
One Speedy Yoshi says, do you think Peter is transphobic, or at the very least, like, they're weird, I don't want to be around them, or is actually just fine with them since he genders you correctly? It's hard to say. He's kind of a liar, so I don't know.
And cannabis medicine, organic. And if you take a low dose of cannabis medicine every day, not high THC, CBD hemp, so you're not getting intoxicated or anything like that. A lot of our diseases would disappear. A lot of our health problems would disappear. Anorexia would disappear. Obesity would disappear. Blood sugar problems would be disappearing. High blood pressure, heart problems. So the churches and the community take care of each other, and it's not like mandatory taxes and all that. Billionaires should be paying their fair share. I was a Bernie bro, so I know what you mean.
Why is Peter?
Claimed to. And what he really wanted is he wanted to move to California to sue his girlfriend to get custody of his daughter. But he made up this lie about that he could be very successful and we can start a big cannabis business. So I went with my wife, at the time, my pregnant wife, to start this cannabis business. And
he's talking about how he lost like $60,000 to a scam, and that's why he and his wife are broke. I actually do want to hear this.
But my health insurance me up, firing almost no higher than some of theirs. Wondering healthcare. Funny enough, Alexander, I got scanned from someone named Alexander.
Procagom says good socialized medicine equals weed for everyone.
No offense to you, I'm sure you're not.
Could I provide you with a schedule for streams? I don't really have a set schedule. It's most days except for Sunday, usually between 4 and 5. I usually start. It's the best I can do.
Nice guy, but this guy wanted to start a cannabis business with me in California, or he claimed to. And what he really wanted is he wanted to move to California to sue his girlfriend to get custody of his daughter. But he made up this lie about that he could be very successful and we can start a big cannabis business. So I went with my wife, at the time, my pregnant wife, to start this cannabis business. And he just stole all our money. And he was...
Peter, who was raised in a cult, who believes cannabis is a panacea, who has been the victim of a scam that cost he and his family $60,000, believes he can accurately determine the truth value of whether or not the QAnon claims are real.
Very, very, one of the most... he's an excellent manipulator. He had muscular dystrophy and he was in a wheelchair. He'd always play the wheelchair card, like, get... me $600. I'm like, I can't give you 600. He's like, yeah, just take it from the business money. I'm like, but what about using your money for food? He's like, well, I spent all my money on stuff and I'm going to die. I'm in a wheelchair and I'm going to die if you don't lend me money for food. And he like manipulated the money out of us. He's like, I'll pay back the business. I swear. But he never paid back the business. He just basically bankrupted me and my wife real bad and took like 30,000 or something loans from us and never paid it.
In your email to me, you said 60,000, Peter. So which is the lie? Were you lying to me to make me feel bad about your situation? Or are you lying to your audience in order to make it seem less severe how much you were scammed? Neither makes you look great.
Get back. It was a disaster. I was a dummy at the time. Like, why would I trust this guy? But that's
I was dumb back then. I still am, but I was back then too.
how I got scammed. And we've been paying for it. We've been trying to get out of debt for a long time. Hope that answers your question. I want to make sure I don't. I got scammed. If someone says they want to start a business with you and they have no history of successful businesses in the past, probably say no, especially if they're...
That's why Jake and I have done very poorly, and why both of us have been able to buy houses with the money we've made from our businesses.
A disabled person and they're using their disabled card, like, oh, I'm in a wheelchair, I have muscular dystrophy. No, don't go there. That's the mistake I made.
Oh no!
Will we see the return of a beautiful classical style architecture like the 1800s once the... That's a great question. I never thought of that. I guess it's possible. What do you think, Canadian? I prefer not to share, actually. There's been folks online trying to find me, so I don't make use of them. I respect that. No worries. No worries. Yeah. Thanks for making it feel so welcome at spring break. Yeah, right. Well, I appreciate Alexander. You know, it happens. And the good news is I learned a lot about life, about trusting people, about people in wheelchairs and disabilities.
He took all the wrong lessons from this! Oh no! Peter, no! Andrew Batella says, once Q takes over the world, we'll see the return of the Arch. So instead of learning that Peter is gullible and susceptible to scams and he should really vet the claims that people are making towards him, instead he just decided to distrust people in wheelchairs? What the fuck? What the fucking fuck?
And I just take it as a $70,000 crash course on
Procacom says, that's a yikes for me, dog. I'm with you on that.
how not to be scammed and how to run
You didn't, I guess you need to lose another 50,000 or something, because you didn't learn your lesson, Peter.
a business, or what type of mistakes you don't want to make with a
Now he said 70,000? Yeah, he's all over the place with the numbers.
business. So I learned a lot from it. So I'm grateful that it happened, and I've kind of moved on from it. Well, I would press charges, except for the fact that this guy has in debt himself. There's no way he could do anything, and unfortunately, he said the business was going to be legal, but the business ended up not being totally legal. So even if I tried to press charges or do like a
Peter blames me for villainizing him when he just literally goes on stream constantly and talks about the illegal things he does. How is this my fault? I'm not even part of this stream.
tax write-off on it, it wouldn't have worked out. Yeah, lessons to learn. Unfortunately, it's like me, sue him for his wheelchair.
This is awful.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, I've been scammed before too. We just have to learn a lesson and move on. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm sorry if I haven't replied to some of you guys or some of your questions, but let me know. I wanted to stay here for another 30 more minutes to answer.
E-Tune says, well, there go my plans to try and get him and his audience to donate to a GoFundMe.
Answer all your questions, talk about what you guys want to talk about. I'm just excited about Trump winning, and if you watch Rachel Maddow, you can see clearly that Trump is winning.
I'm so glad I spent tens of thousands of dollars to learn a lesson about not being scammed. Now, back onto how I believe Donald Trump won the election. What a fuck.
And we're winning, and it's all going to get better.
His poor wife.
If you guys want to talk about other
who watches Rachel Maddow, I know, right?
Stuff as well, let me know. I really like Christian healthcare ministries. I looked at a whole... There's a conspiracy. There's an alien base under the Denver airport. and there is no evidence to back that up. I don't think there's an alien base under the airport. It's possible, but I do think there is a base, period, under the airport, and some type of base either got taken down. Creepy story, but thank you for sharing.
It's talking about Wall Street bets now.
CEO. We've seen so many CEO resignations, and a lot of them have happened. Like happy, excited. Wait, more fake news stuff. But I'm trying. But if you go to Majestic, a lot of people believe the
okay. We might finish up the rest of the Peter thing, but I'm burnt out on Peter. I think I'm good. Let's see who we can raid, and I'll call it a night. Should you rickroll Peter as a present to yourself? Hey, do you? Who's live? Not many people.
Next is Ona Lark. Producer, program manager, senior program manager, senior project manager. 11 years and 7
Have a good evening, everyone.
Really appreciate it. Happy to
I hope your weekend was great. I hope your Monday is good. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another stream, okay? You're all wonderful, and I appreciate your viewership very much. See you guys later.
trying to break through that particular boys club. But when you allow that behavior, it has a knock-on effect.